Oh, so I totally decided on a title for the show.
What would that be?
Armchair League.
Armchair League?
Yeah.
That'll do.
I thought of it like an hour ago. It's like, damn, I need to figure out what to call the show. And there I was sitting in my chair, and I was just staring off into space. I'm like, Armchair League.
Because you just chill and see from a distance. I get it. It's like sitting down and watching TV, except the TV is the herp derp
The herp derp?
of the league and its community.
Yeah,
That'll
pretty
do.
much. You know, I figured out the best way to get like some kind of criticism, constructive criticism about this too.
Mm-hmm.
Is all I have to do is email it to Sky. Well,
What's
I'll ask him first. I'll be like, "Yo, Sky, you should check out this show and tell me what you think, and if there's stuff I can improve on, because I want to make this a real thing that happens."
That'll be legit.
And then he'll either say, "Sure," or he'll be like, "Fuck no. Get on my face."
Fuck no, I ain't got time for that.
So that video, that Warriors video, what'd you think of it?
It's actually pretty good, but it was kind of strange at the same time. I found it, when I kind of looked at it, it seemed like the Last Worlds video, where it was cool looking, but the Last Worlds video actually kind of portrayed like, oh, there's Dyrus, and he's playing this champion or whatever, and then there's XPK or whoever the fuck else, and it's just portraying them. Well, it goes to this Worlds video, and it's just like the general team is basically what it's doing. The general team versus the other general team. And it's like, okay. So it's basically about from the bottom to the top struggle, I guess.
Actually, well, interestingly enough about those videos is the one from last year.
Mm-hmm.
It was by the same people who animated Avatar: Legend of Korra.
Well, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And this video, to me, and to a lot of people on Reddit, they actually kind of think that it has kind of a Gorillaz-esque kind of look to it.
Yeah, now that you say that, yeah, I kind of look at it and it looks like definitely a Gorillaz-esque, just because of the kind of lanky sort of arms to it, the kind of not thuggish, but or yeah, thuggish isn't a good word for it. Kind of a punky sort of thing, like the kind of raggedy bagged clothes, kind of grungy style to it.
Yeah, the animation style was pretty good. I know what you mean by the team generalization, though. It's like, who's actually portrayed here? Just, I guess anyone, just the summoner in general. Because it could be anyone. I think it's kind of more of a generalized thing.
Well, I kind of find it interesting because it starts out as one person, and that one person's just like, well, I'm sitting on my computer, whatever. And he's playing, then it pans over to him as a team versus the general other team, and it's kind of viewing as the other one being the antagonist. But then it goes into like a world setting where it's him versus that same general enemy team, and it's basically the same antagonist. So it's like, okay, it's not really differentiating anything, but it's like, yeah,
Yeah, I get that.
nothing specific. It's not a bad thing though.
No. I
It's
think
actually not bad. Yeah, it's a good, like, it's a good rendition and it's a good concept, but going from the old one to this one, it's kind of strange.
Yeah. Well, I think they're kind of going for a "this could be you" kind of thing, because it's so general.
Yeah.
This could be you, except not, because you're never going to get there, so fuck you.
This could be you, but you know our servers are imploding.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know, it was cool though. The song was good. I liked it. Imagine
Yeah, it was,
Dragons.
Yeah, I thought I recognized that one. I'm just like, it sounds like the guys who did Radioactive.
I like the first YouTube comment that comes up, some fucking guy just talking mad shit.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, well.
Let's see here. Now that I think about it, I should look back at that, see what the comment section says. But for the most part, yeah, it seems pretty chill.
Oh, actually, one more thing that is going around right now on Reddit, League of Legends. Did you hear about SK Gaming's jungler, Svenskeren or whatever his name is? I think that's how you pronounce it.
Svenskeren, yeah.
How he had his little racist summoner name, and then Riot pretty much slammed him with a fine.
Really? What was his name?
Taipei Ching Chong. Yeah. Pretty intelligent. And this is a team that's going to Worlds, and they just kind of screwed themselves. Well, he screwed them by being retarded. And, like, outright, I'm just going to say he was being retarded. That was stupid. I guess he's pretty notorious for being toxic in solo queue and stuff. Like, he's the kind of person who would call you a cancer noob and go die and stuff like that. I found out. And these are the people that are in the LCS. What the fuck's with that?
Yeah, I don't really understand. It's like I get why Riot's doing that in general. They're supposed to set an example for the other players, but I don't really think it'll work all that well, to be very honest. I mean, you take a look at how it's set up, where there's these Worlds guys, and sure they're doing whatever, but like in the thick of battle, or not battle, but like in the thick of a match, they're not really going to be thinking of those Worlds guys. But for the most part, yeah, I see what they're doing with it. They're trying to eliminate that in general, so that's not part of the spotlight, so it makes sense. It's just like, oh, what stupid shenanigans did Sven say today? And it's like, well, okay, and this is supposed to be somebody who's representing as part of the league? Like, no.
Yeah, you don't want that kind of person representing a professional community.
Yeah.
And, here's penalties, by the way. This is kind of good. So he's suspended from the first 3 World Championship matches. So 3 of the group stage matches he's suspended from.
Huh.
And he was fined $2,500.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's 3 matches SK Gaming is going to have a tough time with. I know they're getting a sub-ban for them. They're flying him out since, like, 2 days ago when this all went down.
Yeah.
So, hopefully they find some kind of synergy there, or they're just going to get fucked.
Oh, it's definitely going to be rough. Unless they've been playing with this guy a lot. Like, not a lot, but just playing with him in general and understanding what he does and how he does, they're not going to really synergize that well with him. Because if you have a sub-in, you kind of need some general understanding of how they play. So I imagine they do, seeing as it's a sub, but if it's kind of like a last-minute sub that they haven't played with in a long while, then it's like, well, fuck. What are you going to do?
Yeah, and this is the... Oh, okay. They're in the same group as... They're in the same group as TSM. They're in the same group as Taipei Assassins, which is kind of ironic, because his name was Taipei Ching Chong. And they're in the same group as Starhorn Royal Club, which is like a partially Chinese team that picked up a couple Koreans recently. They have Insec, which was that, he's famous for the Lee Sin kick.
Yeah.
Oh, and Zero, their support. He's Korean too. But yeah, SK Gaming has a really tough group in comparison to themselves. And to make it more difficult for themselves, Svenskeren had to fuck up.
Yeah. Oh, God. That's not going to be good for them.
Yeah.
But if it happens, it happens. So hopefully his act will smarten up, or else he may end up getting ousted from the entire kind of league in general.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the group stages, right? So you can see what everyone's up against.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Taipei Assassins team, Soulmate, SK. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's going to be kind of a tough one for them now.
Yeah. Oh, crap, okay. Because if they make it past Starhorn, I'm pretty sure Taipei might lose to TSM. But Starhorn, if they're having a sub out and it's the first 3 games, if they're lucky enough to plow past them, then they'll at least have full strength against TSM. But yeah, as far as that goes, the way it's looking for Sven, he might end up coming. Well, depends how. Wait, how long does it take for each setup to be done, or do they just kind of just go through all the matches per group and then they decide on who goes through for that group, or?
It's on the eSports site. Hold on, they have the group stages and everything, like the schedule.
Oh wait, okay, I see it here. Bracket stage. Okay, so A1 and B2 would go.
Here's the matches that are coming up, and it's starting tomorrow, eh? And that's not good because SK Gaming is up against TSM right off the bat.
Huh.
Right out the gates.
Oh god. Yeah, that's gonna be rough. They're down on, they're not gonna be full power, so they're gonna go against TSM, and TSM's just gonna roll right through them.
Yeah, I feel the same way about it, honestly. Like, even if TSM was having some kind of internal struggle, which I don't think they are at this point.
No, they seem pretty solid nowadays.
No, SK's not going to win that match.
It's gonna be rough. Just for one stupid little mistake.
Yeah. Man, there's a lot of fucking matches tomorrow. There's a lot of matches every day for the next while.
Oh yeah. A couple duplicate matches within each one.
And they do Group A and B for like a few days, and then they do C and D for a few days.
SK Gaming, yeah, okay. SK Gaming versus Taipei Assassins. They're probably going to be waiting for that one just for the username that they made.
Yeah. I don't know, so, let's see. They're going to lose to TSM, then Taipei Assassins, then Starhorn Club.
Oh yeah, and even clicking on the site, I thumbed up TSM and then hit vote. It's 83.11% of the people who voted on that sucker is saying TSM is gonna win that one. So I think they all know the same thing too.
So yeah, that's what's going to happen with SK Gaming. They're in a little bit of heat right now. If they can come through the first 3 games with minor issue, maybe even take a win or 2, then they'll be fine for a while. Oh, did you do the pick'em thing?
The what?
The group stages pick'em thing. It's like kind of the what the hell is it called? The fantasy league, but it's just like picking who's gonna take what place in each group.
Huh. No, I haven't.
Yeah.
I guess you have to wait. No, this is okay. It's pvp.net. It's probably linked to my account.
You account, yeah. So yeah, you just have to sign in.
You're basically dragging who's going to be first, second, third, and fourth?
Yeah.
Okay.
After you're done, share your picks. I'll share mine, because I want to see what your opinion is off of what... I don't know how much you honestly know about these teams.
I don't really know a whole lot at all.
No, you're not as big into the esports part as me. But just kind of think about what the kind of teams I've been talking about over time, and you'll have a general idea. And some of your bias might show through too. I'm sure some of my bias is showing through. But yeah, there's like a share picks button after you're done at the top. Just give me a link to it. I want to see what you think. Those are your picks? Okay, here are mine. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got, boy. What? What the fuck? You think Samsung Galaxy Wave's gonna be in 4th?
Huh?
What? Maybe you didn't save it, because that seems wrong.
What the hell? Where?
Did you... Okay.
There's share picks button, but there's no save button. I have Samsung Galaxy White in first, so that's wrong.
Hit refresh maybe, and then try the share picks thing. If it refreshes and shows the stuff how you had it set.
Yeah, it's back to its default. Damn it.
Try it again.
Stupid thing.
That's weird.
There was an error. 422 picks for the group stage of the series are closed. Oh, okay.
What? How? It says there's 5 hours left.
I don't know.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Reddit. Or, not Reddit. I was just immediately blame Reddit.
Thanks, Reddit, you shit community.
Thanks, Riot. Same company.
Reddit riots and thing.
Yeah.
Oh well. I put Galaxy Blue and Galaxy White both in first place. OMG, or Group C, OMG I put in second place, and LMQ I put in third. Fnatic is in fourth.
Okay, wait. Okay, so Group A, what order did you put it in? I'm gonna compare mine anyways.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So Group A, I've got Samsung Galaxy White in first.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Passage in second. Edward Gaming in third.
Okay.
And AHQ in fourth.
Huh. Okay. So I have Samsung Galaxy White as first as well. But I have Edward Gaming as second place because they were the first seed in China, I'm pretty sure. And they are pretty crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, they're pretty crazy good. But that's fine, you can... And then HQ I have third because I don't actually know anything about them. And Dark Passage is fourth because... Yeah, I don't know. I feel that any teams that aren't in the West or, like, aren't North American, European, Korean, or Chinese are a little bit behind. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because they'll still have time to grow.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't expect them to win the group stages. If they do, it'll be quite an upset. Okay, anyways, what do you have for Group B?
TSM in first.
Okay.
Starhorn in second.
Right.
SK Gaming in third, and then I have Taipei in fourth.
Taipei in fourth.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Well, I have TSM in first as well. Must be a little bit of bias there. In second I have Taipei Assassins. Because they were the Season 2 World Champions, but they had quite a different roster back then too.
Yeah.
I don't know how they will hold up in general. In third, I have Starhorn Royal Club. You probably don't know this, but there's some recent drama in their team having to do with Uzi and Insec. Their AD carry and their jungler. So that might have some effect on how they play. Not necessarily, but it could happen. But I have them on third anyways. Yeah. And then I have SK Game in fourth because they were third place in Europe. Svenskeren fucked up. It's gonna be a tough one. So if they get anywhere higher than fourth in Group B, I will be surprised.
Okay.
Okay, so how about Group C?
Group C, I have Galaxy Blue.
Okay.
OMG.
Right.
LMQ, then Fnatic.
Huh. Why do you have LMQ over Fnatic?
I don't know. I've been hearing little bits about Fnatic here and there, and it's just... I'm going by instinct on this one, just picking it just out of a whim, but I'm throwing LMQ above Fnatic because how LMQ was actually doing during the NA finals, not the finals, but like the NA circuit, they're actually doing pretty damn good, and they're pretty strong for a while. I mean, they ended up doing that, I think it was like a 4-win streak or some crap. I can't remember. I think that was them. I don't remember. They ended up doing some pretty good stuff for a little while. Even that match that we ended up seeing them play, I think that was when we were sitting down with TJ. Yeah, LMQ was doing some pretty actual good plays in comparison to the other teams. So I kind of look at them and I'm thinking, they've got an idea of how the circuits for these other teams go, so they might have a little bit of an edge over say TSM or any of the NAs.
Well, okay. Do you know the player XPeke? Anything about him?
A little bit, not really.
Okay. Well, he's a mid laner for Fnatic, and he's been hailed as one of the few best mid laners in the West. Like, not as like he's up there with Froggen, he's up there with Bjergsen, he's up there with most of them.
Yeah.
So, but LMQ's mid laner's Zhao Wei Zhao, he's really good too. So, I don't know.
I just kind of looked at LMQ and how they moved. They all moved within synergy. Like, they kind of understood what each and every other person was doing, whereas you kind of look at the North American circuits, like 2 people are here doing this, and then 3 people are over here doing that, and you pointed that out before when we were watching this.
Yeah.
And I kind of look at LMQ, and they kind of do the Chinese and Korean kind of style, where they just group together and then smash turrets down.
Yeah.
And that's pretty good on that aspect, because they're able to synergize well and understand what each and every other person on their team is doing.
Actually, there's a little bit of fundamental difference between the Korean team style and the Chinese team style.
Yeah.
The Korean team style groups together and smashes down turrets. The Chinese team style groups together and dives turrets.
Yeah, okay.
The Chinese teams are pretty well known for their really brutal dives, basically, which either are gonna work out super well on teams that aren't prepared, or fail miserably, which, that's happened to LMQ on more than one occasion during the NALCS.
Yeah, fair enough.
But, I don't know, Fnatic's gone to Worlds pretty much every year. They were the Season 1 World Champions, but even then, like I said about Taipei Assassins, they were a very different team back then.
Mm-hmm.
But Fnatic has shown a lot of consistency over the years, regardless. And they took 2nd place in the EULCS. So
it's not bad then, yeah.
And they went toe-to-toe with Cloud9 pretty regularly.
I'm not really sure. Like, as far as it goes with these circuits and all that crap, I don't really justify my picks, because I don't really know that much about them. I just see what they build and pro builds, and I just see what they do for here, and I see what they do for there, and it's like little bits of like just random crap that kind of just piled together and then gives me an idea of what I'm going for here. That's about as far as I can take it.
Alright. Now Group D, the best in the West junglers. Who do you think's gonna place where in Group D?
That's gonna sound kind of weird, but I got Kabum in first. I got Cloud9 in second, Alliance in third, and then White Shield in fourth.
What the hell?
Yes.
Why do you have Kabum in first? I'm just
don't
wondering.
know. I really don't.
Okay. That's fine. I think you have the Reddit mentality right now. It's just like, because they always have this joke right now that Kabum's gonna win all of Worlds, because they're such an unknown factor. And that's kind of funny.
So it's another thing about it that I've kind of looked at too. That I don't really know all that much about them, and you saying that about the Reddit communities and nobody's really knowing that much about them either. There's a good potential there, but as far as my Group D picks, I'm not really going to hold my breath.
Yeah, well, they won the PAX wildcard competition, which is like the Spanish community, basically.
Okay.
But, for my Group D, I have Alliance taking first, because Froggen is one crazy mofo in mid. Over the years, I think he's just gotten better and better and better without stopping. He kind of had a little bit of a slump during Season 3, but it's just because this playstyle wasn't prepared for all the changes that happened. But he's come back with a vengeance.
I do hear a lot about Froggen.
Yeah, he's pretty crazy. And then Najin White Shield is second, because they're the 3rd place Korean team, I think. No. They won the OGN regional finals. Oh, the regional ones, okay. Yeah, so Blue and White won the OGN circuit, which is the, like, higher tier, basically. Whereas, White Shield kind of just won based off of, I'm not actually sure how the Ojin structure works, to be honest. I don't watch enough Korean play.
Yeah.
But they have some really good players on that team too.
As far as it goes with Group D, like Cloud9's in there. I saw what they did at Worlds, or not Worlds, the NA circuit, and I understand what they can do. But as far as these other teams, like of all the teams that I've heard about and haven't heard about, Group D has like 3 teams that I don't know at all anything about, other than Cloud9.
Yeah, okay.
Like only one team within it, whereas Group A, B, and C, I at least know 2 to 3 of each of them. So Group D is kind of like, I don't know.
Well, anyways, for third place in Group D, I have Cloud9. But honestly, I just believe that they're going to have some weird problems that they're not going to make out of group stages.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, I just have this feeling about it. And then for fourth, I have Kaboom, because once again, they're from a region that is underdeveloped in esports.
Yeah, fair enough.
Which, I mean, once again, upsets can happen.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't hold my breath.
I kind of look at it, and yeah, now that you say that, it's a bit different, especially against the Korean teams and whatever. I mean, South Korea is like the gaming central of the world when it comes to esports. So it's like, Yeah. They're up against some pretty good competition if they manage there.
I've also been hearing all sorts of crazy shit on Twitter with the North American, European teams that went there to practice in Korea. I'm hearing stuff like TSM's looking really strong, like they're keeping up with the Korean teams, but they're saying about Alliance as well, and blah blah blah. Apparently Fnatic's looking good too. So, I don't know, it could all just be hype. And these are like Korean players that are apparently claiming this, but sometimes I believe the Korean players have a little bit of a sarcastic nature when they talk about North American players.
Yeah.
Like, oh, these guys are so good, but they don't actually quite mean that. But who knows, maybe they're actually being 100% honest about it.
Well, then again, like as you said before, the weird thing, or the weird way how they insult other people. It's like, oh, I hope your family has a great and successful future, that kind of thing. So you kind of pick up on that snarkiness. And
yeah, Korean insults. Those are great. I hope you have live a long and healthy life, Sven.
In translation, I'm just friggin' complimenting him. Don't ban me, Riot.
Yeah. But overall, I think like this Worlds is going to be a lot better than last year. Last year was kind of like, it's very anticlimactic to see SK Telecom T1 stomp out Royal Club as the finals. I'm pretty sure it was the finals.
They just got royally smashed.
Yeah.
Jesus. No pun intended. It's rough though.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Like it was a 3-0. Super sad.
A 3-0, Jesus.
Yeah.
That's a clean point.
Yeah, it was Royal Club. So SK Telecom T1 3-0'd them last year, and that was just like, wow, that was great. that was a great end. Thank you for that.
It's just, yeah. Smish and smash.
For context, this is what happened last year. And keep in mind, SK Telecom T1 is not in Worlds this year. They didn't make it. They got smashed up by Samsung Blue, White, and I guess Najin White Shield did better than them.
Yeah.
In order to get in. I like how Black Sword was in there last year, and White Shield is in this year. That's kind of...
Black Sword. That's one I've never even heard of.
Those guys are pretty damn good, too.
There's a lot of these teams here that I don't even recognize. Team Vulcan.
Yeah, Team Vulcan. From Worlds to relegations in one split.
Oh, God. I think this is Mineski or Mineski.
Mineski, yeah.
Mineski.
But this is also the pattern I'm following for the whole underdeveloped regions thing, because GamingGear.eu and GamingGear.eu is the wildcard winner last year, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the case. And then Mineski was Southeast Asia. They're the top for Southeast Asia, which is just another region that's trying to get there.
Okay. Well, it's nice to actually see these different areas of the world that are actually participating in this stuff, or at least capable of it, seeing as they have access to internet and all that stuff. And then them to be able to actually make it to like these circuit leagues and shit is actually pretty good.
Man, they did really well the last year, like Fnatic, and with the addition of having Reckles and... Wait, was Reckles in there last year? I don't think Reckles was in last year. Anyways, yeah, Fnatic kind of upgraded themselves since last year too, player-wise. Reckles is undisputedly the best AD carry in the West. He's better than any of the North American AD carries, in my opinion. And he's the best in Europe.
Reckles?
Yeah, Reckles. He is a monster. And he's young. Like, he's only 17 years old.
Damn. And he's going to be there a while then.
Yeah. His stats were just complete insanity during the summer split in the EU. He is, in my opinion, he was pretty much everything that Double Lift could have been, but wasn't. Here's his... I found his stats.
Let's see this. Damn.
Look at his fucking KDs on Vayne, on Corki. Well, just on any of them, basically.
Pretty, yeah. Huh.
I like how he picked Graves once and lost.
Yeah.
He didn't die, though, so there.
Majority of them always seem positive, yeah. Like, well, Lucian seems a bit strange on him, though. 12 and 10, so that's, On Vayne, like 6 and 2, then 5 and 1 on Sivir, 5-5 Caitlyn, that's understandable. 5-1 Jinx, 5-2 Kog'Maw, 4-3 Twitch. Yeah, like he's got positive ratios all across the board, except for that little anomaly with Graves.
Yeah. So, I'm just trying to give you a little bit of context in the Fnatic and why I placed them so high in their group. Oh wait, I didn't place them very high, I put them in third. Well, fuck me anyways.
You proved yourself wrong.
Yeah, I might have just screwed myself. Fnatic is either going to be second or third in Group C, and I have them in third, but second is a possibility.
Yeah, he seems pretty solid. I almost want to look him up later, just so I can see some videos.
Yeah, he's crazy. I don't know. I don't want to hype any one player up too much, but I know there's powerhouses in lots of these teams.
Yeah.
Which is why I put them in the spots that I did.
Which kind of makes me wonder how it would be if somebody created a new team that just adopted all of these powerhouses into one team. I mean, insane.
Well, that was kind of the idea with Alliance. They were supposed to be a super team, right? So they took players from fucking everywhere when they started. And they started off pretty weak in the EULCS, and then they just came up big. Let's see if I can... Alright, so yeah, this is what...
Okay, Alliance, yeah.
Alliance picked up people from EG. Their mid laner and their top laner were from EG. Their junglers from Copenhagen Wolves. Their AD carries from Lemon Dogs. And their support was their old SK Gaming support.
Oh, the coach is a Canadian, Leviathan.
Huh. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, but they picked up people with like really good attributes from a bunch of different teams.
Seems like there's, yeah.
And it even says in their history they're rumored as the super team.
So you have people from Denmark, there's Netherlands, one from Germany, and just one from the Czech Republic.
Fuck yeah, Czech Republic, the homeland. Oh, that's their sub.
Player manager is Denmark, and their analyst is Australian.
Mm-hmm.
Huh, okay.
Yeah, they have a pretty interesting... Oh, and you know Shook, their jungler, right? And he was actually a really super toxic player back in the day, but he's kind of toned it down as of late. And yeah, he's pretty much one of the best junglers in the West as well.
Pretty solid then. Yeah, they've got a really good team going for them.
Yep.
They picked up some big names. Like that's what I kind of look at. Even like some super team that some company decides to throw together. It's just like, yeah, we're gonna buy these players off of your team. Do you want to sell them? It's like, oh, okay.
Why would you sell Froggen? The hell were you thinking, EG? And they almost got relegated because they came to the North America with half their team.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well. But yeah, Worlds is going to be really good this year. And I'm looking forward to the group stages and all that.
I probably won't be able to watch them, but I'll look at the highlights for the most part.
Group stages are going on at really weird times. You looked at the schedule, right?
I kind of breezed it.
Look at the times, because they're going off of Korean time, like Asian time zones, so they have really weird starts. Like, the first game starts at 2 a.m. in our time. Like, their time zone's converted to PST, but in Asia it's like morning or afternoon there. So I mean, you might be able to catch some of the matches.
Oh yeah, so okay.
See what I mean?
It's Thursday, September 18th. Yeah, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Yeah.
That kind of coincides with your sleep schedule.
Well, considering I work like the next couple of days, yeah, this will work.
I don't know. If you can, try to catch a couple of the games. I have to watch VODs because I actually need to sleep at reasonable times, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because I wake up the same time every day. But then I get to watch the VODs, so that'll be nice. I'll watch the spoiler-free VODs so I don't fuck myself over. Yeah.
Okay, so I should be able to. When it pops on tomorrow, I should be able to watch them.
Mm-hmm.
They're just streamed on Twitch, right?
Twitch, Hazubu, and YouTube.
Okay. So it should be alright then.
Yep. Oh, here's another little piece of news that they just added. The coaches for LCS teams are going to be officially part of the LCS next split, like next year. Because
officially part?
The way Riot had it was the teams were just the players. So they would have, player regulations and all that. But now the coaches are going to be regulated too. So there's teams that were picking up, like, kind of toxic players and all that as coaches, because they did have good theory crafting and all that. But at this point now, with the way they're going to have them in the LCS, they won't be allowed to even approach the state. They won't be able to approach the building, basically, if they were toxic, shitty people.
That should be best then, yeah. You don't want that coaching a team, or else they'll start going at them when they make a mistake or some shit, and it's just like, that'll just destroy the team.
Yeah, okay. So, take a look at this quickly. This guy is a coach.
Okay. Shit.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking DDoS activity too, abusive behavior, poor sportsmanship. That's from a coach? Like, come on.
Yeah. Well, he was put up as a coach after this happened.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, what the hell were you thinking? Because now they have him, and he won't be able to approach the building ever.
Yeah.
Because he's permabanned.
Stuck.
So, good luck.
Wow. It's just...
I kind of went off on a tangent about Worlds.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, anyways, I guess we already talked about the group stages, which is good. Got that out of the way. It took a lot more time than I thought it would. But there was a lot of stuff to talk about regarding that. And you know what's stupid about this, though? It's going to be completely irrelevant by the end of the week. Whatever I said. Because everything will be said and done by the time this even gets out there.
Yeah.
Oh well.
That's what it is.
The next thing I really wanted to talk about is that magical mechanic known as CSing.
Ah, yes. The bane of every AD carry's existence. I know that very much.
Well, honestly, CSing gonna make or break you in this game. And at least it's not as hard as Dota, where you can get denied at every turn. But people seem to forget that getting gold is an important part of the game.
Not that many people realize the outweighing factor of actually CSing. So they look at it and they're like, oh, gold is... You get a kill, you get 200 gold. Well, you CS for about 30 seconds, you get 200 gold, so... Basically,
what was it? Trying to do the math quickly. Yeah, so it's like a minion wave and a half gets you the same gold as a kill.
Yeah.
And yet people are completely forgetting about this. So,
Or they just don't think about it in general.
yeah, but I don't really know what to think about the whole CSing thing. I try and CS as much as I can.
I try to do what I can for CSing, but CSing is kind of a strange beast when it comes to actually dealing with it, because you can have just basic CSing practice where you just sit there and you CS and CS and CS, but that means the enemy AD carry, for example, just the lane I'm referencing here, the enemy AD carry would just then be CSing and CSing and CSing, and depending on what support you have, they can't always keep the pressure, which is why when I CS and I'm in lane and I'm playing Kog'Maw, for example, Kog'Maw has that range to him that gives you an advantage. So when you don't have any minions to CS off of, there's nobody low for last hit. Usually I would just try and harass a little bit here and there, but it's sometimes hard to keep an eye on your creep wave coming at you and at the same time trying to keep the enemy ADC off of yours. So it's kind of a scale going on there that you got to balance between the two, and it makes it difficult sometimes, and especially with the lower players, the ones that don't have that mechanic down, they have to sacrifice one over the other. And especially in late game, when they try and CS early game, they're doing just fine. They're making like 100 CS by 15 minutes or something like that. Or not 15 minutes. I can't even think of the right amount of CS that would be acceptable. But they make a decent amount of CS by, I'll say, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So they make that, and they get to their mid-game or what have you after a couple kills or whatever, but then they just stop CSing. They don't go to minions, they don't go to golems, they don't go to wolves or something. Any chance they get, and they don't do anything with it.
That's exactly the point I was going to get across here, is there's no acceptable time to stop CSing in the game. If there's a moment where you're doing nothing, that's wrong. You're wrong. It's always wrong. You have to be doing something. CS, get an objective, kill fucking jungle creeps. I don't give a shit. Just do something. Generate gold. Get yourself strong. Even if you're behind, you can still get ahead.
Which is nice about that, because it's just as it said. A creep wave, 30 seconds of CSing is equal to or around a kill, maybe even over, depending on the size of the wave coming at you.
Yeah.
But if you're behind, you'll end up meeting halfway, being on par or even ahead in a lot of cases that I've seen. Whereas the enemy ADC who isn't CSing is kind of just idling around trying to do team games, which that's what the game is meant for. You're supposed to do team games. But if there's some downtime and nobody knows what's going on, when in doubt, CS. It's the only thing you can do. But there's also stuff you got to keep a mind on, like your jungle, your own jungle. Because if you're pushed, say, into your tier 3 tower or whatsoever, and then you're out in your jungle alone trying to CS golems or trying to take red or trying to take wraiths, there's a good chance that one of those spots you're running by is probably warded by the enemy support. So that'll get you caught, which is definitely something I gotta keep in mind for. You can't overextend like that, whereas a lot of players I notice don't understand that.
Yeah, we've both made that mistake too quite a few times.
Yeah, very much so.
Oh, it's safe. We're only pushed all the way to their nexus, basically. Better go in jungle and get some CS. Whoops, I'm dead.
The whole enemy team jumps on you and just get 5-manned,
Yeah.
As they were taking dragon, little did you know.
Yeah. And you know why they were ahead? Because the enemy ADC was out CSing the entire game, and you didn't even realize it. That's why you're behind now. And that's why you're in that situation. So fuck you, CS.
Pretty much, yeah. You can't not CS or else you're screwed. There's no way around it. No ifs, ands, or buts. If you're not CSing, you're not going to get gold. And if you're not going to,
well, you're going to get gold.
One can argue, you will get gold, but 1 gold a second will not amount to anything. I'm sorry, but it doesn't. I don't care what anybody says. You can get GP5 friggin' runes for all I give a shit. No, you gotta keep CSing.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're fucked. But one thing I like to definitely stress and emphasize when it comes to CSing is the fact that the allied jungler, for example, has pretty much a full build. and the mid laner or the ADC, for example, doesn't really have much of a full build. They've got basically their core, but for some stupid reason, that jungler decides, oh, I'm going to go and clear top lane. That's got a huge wave coming to them that mid laner or ADC could have actually had to themselves to actually get ahead. Instead, they clear it for themselves just because they just want to finish off their last item. Now, that's kind of detrimental to the team because your damage, that's a part of the team, is now lacking because you decided to want to finish off that Banshee's Veil. It's nice that you got that, but it's just, you gotta keep your team up with you or else you're screwed. Because if you don't have a back line, your front line's basically just cannon fodder. Like what I'm about to be right now.
How about those people who have full builds and they still CS? What do you think of those guys?
Those ones don't make sense to me, really. Like when we stress saying, oh, you gotta CS, it makes sense to a point, but it's just like, if you got a full fucking build, I don't see the point to it. Because you can keep CSing whatever, but at the point of full build, what are you gonna do? Like, start subbing out items? And then just buying full items afterwards? Like, if you see your team or team member still not with their full build yet or whatever, ping them to go to those creep waves and take that stuff. They may argue with you, whatever, they're dumb for doing that, but that's what they have to do in order to get ahead. And a lot of people don't understand that. It's like back to the CSing thing. You need to keep CSing. And if you're behind and you're, for example, fed as fuck and you're just getting CS for the hell of it, not really paying attention, then it doesn't help.
No.
This is why I look at solo queue, and it's just like, a lot of people aren't really aware of their own teammates. They're kind of just thinking for themselves. And I understand it's solo queue. I mean, you're by yourself with just some random people, but at the same time, you also got to keep in mind what you're doing as far as the team goes. Yeah. A lot of people like to use their team as cannon fodder just to get their way done, like the fucking 12-0 Vayne that just sits in the back and lets their team die and then just cleans up. Sure.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you're really gonna push through in the higher tiers, you gotta keep that in mind, because you're fucked if you don't.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, people who think that it's a good idea to keep CSing when you have a full build, you're a dick. Fuck you.
Yeah. This is why I kind of look at that. I'm like, really?
I want my core items. You don't need any more gold. Please, move. Let me do this shit. Not saying I'd ever be that far behind. I'm clearly the best player in the world. But, like, honestly, it doesn't make any sense, people who do that. Maybe they're just not paying any attention, like you said, but they need to. It's important.
Yeah, it's like some people that get frustrated. I get that, and they want to keep their mind off of what's going on, but you gotta keep calm. If you start fretting and you start flipping your shit about what's going on, and then you start not really thinking, that's where the calm factor comes from, actually doing stuff. And now that I've been playing for a decent while, like I went through 2 seasons of playing ADC. In the bot lane, I have raged so many fucking times, and Corey knows this, for example.
I know, I was there.
He knows how many times I've raged. Nowadays, it's like, I really don't even care. And talking about, like, was Dyrus who said this, or was it... No, I think it was Meteos who said this, where it's like you get stomped or whatever, like you're losing or you get killed in bottom lane, and like that first or that third season person going into season 2 trying to get their way out of silver is flipping their shit and throwing their keyboard just because they gave away first blood. That's not going to help.
Yeah.
In all instances, especially when I'm in battle too, my heart rate doesn't go up. Only when I'm really, really stressed and everybody's going for me does my heart rate go up. And that's because I taught myself to keep calm. And that's why you gotta keep focused on that. And no, I'm no saint. I do flip my shit too.
I know, I've been there.
I do rage, but not as often as I used to when I was trying to climb out of bronze.
True.
Right now I'm in silver 3, but it's like I'm still trying to get my way out of there, but I'm not as bad as I used to be. And that's really what you definitely need in order to maintain your composure, is to keep calm.
Yeah, being calm, you have that clear head, you're thinking about what you need to do at that point. You're thinking about the game, your objectives, your winning conditions. When you're not, when I'm mad, I kind of rage, but at the same time, I have this really passive-aggressive thing that I like to do, where I just keep farming, even though there's team fights happening and people are getting shit on left and right because I'm not there. And that's bad. I'm bad for that, and it's costed me more than one game, and it's wrong. I need to fix it, and I've fixed it for the most part, but it still happens. There comes games where I'm just like, fuck this, I'm farming forever, and then we lose because I'm off in Never Neverland CSing while my team's getting pumped in the butt.
Yeah, which is what a lot of it kind of, well, here's from a secondary jungler perspective too, this silliness. Ow. Is you kind of look at what exactly you're trying to do as far as like mid lane goes or whatever. You're trying to gank for mid lane or you're trying to gank for bot lane. The enemy jungler ends up running into mid lane and they start stomping at him, and you're at wolves. Or not wolves, you're at wraiths, for example, and you've just killed the big wraith. This is one thing I'm still trying to get over myself, which is rather annoying, and I know how frustrating it is for any other lanes that I'm trying to deal with this, but you kill the first big wraith and the enemy jungler immediately jumps into your mid's lane trying to gank mid. Leave those little minions, because you can come back to them later.
Yeah.
The thing about that, though, is it's like, you immediately think, oh, I got a CS. You gotta clear that wave because it's like you instinctively think you're just gonna forget about it or something. I don't know what the hell the instinct is.
Yeah.
But you immediately think, yeah, I gotta clear this wave before I run to mid. No. That your laner, your mid laner, is gonna get smashed if you do that. And they'll probably rage at you, which doesn't help on either aspect.
True. And I agree with that, and I sometimes do that too. I'll just be like, oh, I see the enemy junglers up there killing you. Let me finish these wolves first, and I'll be up there to assist you shortly. And then by the time I kill the last wolf, they're dead, their turret's gone. It's like, whoops. My bad.
It's a weird thing to try and get around, too. It gets to be rather difficult sometimes. But it's definitely something that you gotta drop as a habit, because for me, especially going through as like an ADC or whatever, I'm so used to just farming and my support just doing whatever, harassing or what have you.
Yeah.
So I'm just standing there auto-attacking, doing my thing, or not auto-attacking, but last hitting and doing my thing. And it's just like, oh, the support's starting to get smashed a little, better move up. And then support my support a little, make sure it doesn't die. But at the same time, it's just like, you try and translate that into a jungle role, it's like, no, stop CSing, move into mid, help, maybe you might even get a kill off of it, and then go back to those wraiths, finish them off, and then get the hell out of there.
Yeah, for context, those wraiths aren't going nowhere. They can't leave their spot. So I'm sure you can just leave them alone, go help, get that shit over with, and go back to them. And I can't imagine why you'd forget that they're there. They're on the same spot every time.
I don't know. It's like some weird kind of panic. This is one thing I've noticed about when it comes to ADCs or whatever. You usually get an ADC from like Season 2 or Season 3, and then they go into it and they're so used to CSing or whatever. And I think ADC and mid lane tend to be one of the more popular lanes for like the first timers. They end up getting the solo lane or whatever, or they get pigeonholed into ADC because jungle seems too complicated to them. Top lane, it's occasional, but they get smashed. So they go bot lane for just to ADC, or they go mid. And these typically the ones that call, mid, immediately. No, mid, not mid prefer, or not, can I have mid or anything, and just immediately calls mid, and then like insta-locks into it, because they want to get that role. But they're going from that mid lane, or that ADC lane, where it's constantly CSing, or in their case, auto-attacking, and it gets to that point where it's like, okay, I gotta translate out of this because I'm in the jungle role and I have to leave my CS behind. And that's a weird concept as far as an ADC goes. That's something I still try and get over as a jungler.
Or you can be like Trick 2G and just farm jungle all day, fuck everyone else, get that shit rolling, stomp bitches, win the game. But honestly, his way of jungling requires his team to be competent enough to go even or win their lanes. which, I mean, that can happen, and then, sure, go ahead, CS if you know your laners can win out pretty much every time. But, I don't know, I think it's honestly better to meet the enemy jungler wherever he goes. That's the playstyle I try to live by when I jungle. I want to be where the enemy jungler is. Every time. In their face. Making their lives living hell.
I kind of go by that playstyle, but not really. Mine's more of a... I think you said it was a control playstyle?
Yeah.
I don't remember, but as far as it goes, I try and meet the enemy jungler, but I for the most part, try and do what I can and be where I can. But as far as being a jungler, and you're like in the bottom aspect of the jungle, trying to deal with golems when you're on blue side or something like that, and you're preparing for some crap to happen in bot lane, for example, all of a sudden, oh, there's some shit going sideways top because the top laner friggin' Fiora, for example, goes like 0 and 5, and they're spazzing their crap out at top lane because nobody has ganked for them or nobody's roamed for them. It's just like, dude, I'm all the way down here and you're complaining about your turret being gone. But granted, it's like, you gotta help them out to some aspect. That's one instinct that I try and get towards myself, that I kind of battle with at the same time. It's like, is it worth it to help a losing, or like a severely losing lane? Or is it worth it to help the lanes that are more so winning as far as like toxicity goes? Because silver is pretty gnarly when it comes to that.
Yeah, I know.
When I see like the higher grade players, they're just like, well, my lane is fucked, but I know you don't have to come up here. I know it's a bad idea to come up here. Whereas the silver players are like, where's my ganks? Where's my ganks? And they're flipping their shit, and it's just like, well, if you can't even handle your own bloody lane, what can I do for you? I mean, I could try and force them out of their lane, but you fed them all to crap that there's nothing I can do.
I don't know. Matt, did you go from the topic of CSing to people complaining about the jungler?
Apparently.
Okay. Back on the topic of CSing.
Yeah.
I love when my enemy opponent stops CSing at a certain point in time, because I don't. I never stop CSing when I know I'm like going even with them in lane. Like they might get a kill on me, I might get a kill on them. And then for the longest while I'll probably be even CS with them. Then there will be a point in time where they'll start just running around doing nothing because they're waiting for team fights to happen or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for team fights to happen, but at the same time I'm going to my jungle. Oh, yeah. And killing wolves, killing golems, killing wraiths, killing whatever I can. And then popping out when I need to. And doing team games. Whereas they're just like screwing around, picking their buttholes, and then by the end of the game I'm 100 CS above them, even though they might have been ahead of me at some point. And it's like, whoa, how did that happen? Well, let's see. Maybe you should not stop CSing.
Yeah, it's nice, but you look at it and it's just like, damn, that's an amateurish thing to do. I want to talk because I'm in silver, but as far as it goes, it's like, ugh, you gotta keep CSing or else you're screwed. And I find it kind of funny, especially on the aspect of CSing, when you're trying to CS or what have you, and you're kind of behind, so you're in bot lane, you got a wave coming up, and they're kind of mobilizing on the mid turret, but you do have the power to keep them back. You do have the anti-siege. But then some idiot comes and decides, oh, I see an opening that's not really there, and they decide to go in 1v4, ends up making it out with just 2 health, and just gets blown away by like Ignite or some crap like that, and the rest of the team dies. So that mid turret then goes down, your bot lane trying to keep your CS up and get your build, and then it's like they start complaining about you not being there. It's like, you're 4v5. How are you, like, you need to have some kind of understanding about your team and what kind of CS and how much gold they have just by looking at their items. Like, I get your presence there would help, but
this is coming from the guy who never looks at anybody's items, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I know. But as far as it goes, yeah, keeping an eye on your team. Well, I'm actually sadly known for not looking at my enemy team's items as far as Corey's concerned, but just looking at my own team team's items. I understand what they have, so it's like, okay, yeah, you'll probably need this CS more than I do, so I just ignore it if I have a higher build. I let that person have the wave. Or if somebody's up top, they're needing to CS, they're needing that gold, and we're keeping mid to keep on topic, we're keeping mid down. It's like, okay, we're allowing him to CS without becoming detrimental. And that actually helps, because if you keep them away and you're also passively CSing because the minions are clearing, that helps both you and keeps your tower alive, but also helps keep your team at full strength because they're not going down because of a stupid move. So kind of look at it, there's a lot of teamwork aspect when it comes around CSing too, when it comes to mid lane and late game. Especially if you have like team members that are behind, you have to understand who is behind and who isn't. And if you keep a mind of that, specifically speaking on your own team, if you keep that in mind, it actually helps quite a lot more and allows you to become a bit more successful in your matches. And that's actually what's helped me out quite a bit as far as certain times go, rather than just going, no, I need this, I'm the AD carry. And I've got like 4 full items in my build plus boots, and this other person's only got like 2 or 3 full items. Or like 2 full items and half of a third one, and it's just like, nah, you're gonna need that more than I am at the moment.
That sounds like a certain person we play with.
TJ.
Yeah, I know what you mean though. It's just, everybody needs to be strong. That's how you win the game. And if you're strong and everybody else isn't, then you're not going to win the game. You can't. It doesn't matter how many items you have, how far ahead you are. If it's just you, you are not winning.
Yeah, you'll get picked off first.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll just go, oh, he's got the one with all the items, while the rest of the team has only got like 3 or 2 full items. Well, let's kill him, and then just roll through the enemy team.
So the moral of the story is, get super fed as the top laner and be super tanky, and they'll focus you. There you go. Bam. Yep. The secret to success, right there. Be top lane.
Pretty much.
Oh, man.
I think Dyrone there can account to that.
I don't know. That's pretty much all I can think of about CSing right now. Just, like, get CS. Just CS. Yeah. It's simple.
You gotta keep your CSing up.
All you have to do is hit the minions. And kill them. And make sure the gold is produced. And that's how the game is won.
And not auto-attack them.
Yeah, don't just auto-attack them either.
No auto-attacking. Last hit. Learn to do it.
Exactly.
Fucking auto-attacking is just pointless and useless.
Unless you're trying to push up the lane. But
well, yeah.
Honestly, you want to auto-attack with the intention of killing the minions. Not just, oh, I almost killed the minion, and then the minion killed the minion. That's
kind of one thing I see when it comes to certain stuff to do with CSing too. Is when they're trying to focus on CSing for their spot. Like they have a huge minion wave coming up, and they're just like, oh, okay, well they start auto-attacking it, trying to clear it. But it's like, okay, you're auto-attacking it, but you're missing like half the wave because you're not focused on it. So like, what the hell's the point in that when you're not getting anything? Instead of like doing the smart thing where you're like, okay, well, this minion's low, I'm going to auto-attack that one, and this minion's low, I'm going to auto-attack that one, I'll auto-attack that one to get that one low enough, like the siege minion, for example. And once that thing's low enough, I'll passively attack the other ones. Like, you got to keep last hitting within that huge minion wave. Even while under pressure, you have to keep that up. And that part gets difficult, especially when you are under pressure, because it's like, oh shit.
Survival versus CSing thing.
Yeah.
Especially if you're super low, then it's not fun at all.
Yeah, that gets rough. But even in like team fights, for example, and I see my team rushing up against them, and there's a minion wave there, I'll clear that too and get some CS along the way as I'm ramping up to the fight and maybe get a kill or two.
Yeah, you don't have to die for the CS, so as I was saying before, and especially in lower tiers, people stop CSing after a certain point. And you can always catch up later. Well, not always, because they might just end up winning the game. But there's a chance you can just CS later when they've stopped. And all that CS that they might have got over you because you're so in danger all the time, you might be able to make that back. Or even pass it. And there you go. Problem was solved.
That's why a lot of people kind of fret early game. It's just like, oh, I can't CS or whatever, or we're getting blasted. if you can't get up to that minion wave and you can't CS it because they're pressuring you out of it, don't sweat it. Because if you get pushed back to your turret and you have to hug your turret all that time, you're going to be down CS, that's fine. If they kill your first turret, whatever, that's fine. Because if they kill your first turret, they're going to start moving on to other lanes. A lot of the lower tier players don't try and do zombie pushing. They try and make plays, which is funny. You don't really have to worry about that all that much. And you can make up your time from the CS waves that are coming towards you.
I kind of understand the whole fretting thing too. Like, when I play the carry, sometimes I have supports that fret over it. Like, why aren't you CSing? Why aren't you CSing? Hello, I have 100 health left. Why would I step out there and get my face blasted off? I can't see this when I'm dead. Come on. Let's be realistic here.
It's like, as you said before, it's better to be alive than not.
Exactly. That's one of the fundamental themes of that it's going to be of this show. It's better to be alive than not alive. Because, honestly, like, I've probably told TJ this like a million times too. If you go 0, 0, 12, that's better. Or even if you go 0, 0, 0, that's better than going 0, 10, 0.
Yeah.
Like, that's better.
That's 200 gold each. Well, not each time, but that's the initial sum of gold off those deaths that you just fed the enemy just because you wanted that one siege minion. It's like you're not gonna help your team doing that. Like, it's kind of irritating because people always try and pound into each other's skulls like CSing, I keep CSing, but you gotta keep CSing, as we stressed earlier. But at the same time, you gotta do it within a kind of boundary, because you don't kill yourself over CSing. But at the same time, CS as much as you can, and keep your eye on the CS scores too. If they're not that far ahead of you, if they only got like 10 or 20 CS over you, that's fine. If you're like 30, 35, 40 minutes in and you've got like 50 CS and they've got 200, you're fucked.
If you're 30 or 40 minutes and you have 50 CS, you should probably be in Bronze 5. I'm not gonna lie. Because that's just, no. Like, that can't be physically possible unless you're not trying to at all.
Yep.
Especially if they have 200 CS over you, it's like, okay, they know how to do it, but you don't. It's time to learn how to play the game.
Which I have seen somebody do before, and I was pigeonholed into a support position. This twit would not CS whatsoever.
Yeah, well.
It'd just be standing there auto-attacking the minion wave. And pushing it up and complaining about wards not being down, which, yeah, it's kind of my fault on that aspect, but at the same time, it kept pushing up, allowing the jungler free reign to run into the lane and decimate him.
Yeah, well, shit happens. You can't expect every player to understand this, which is also kind of the point of the show. We want more people to understand how these things work, right?
Yeah.
Like, there are solutions to lots of these problems in the game. And, I mean, we have to go one episode at a time on mechanics, and the first subject here was CSing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it'll be next week. I have to think about that, but yeah. So, I don't know. I'm pretty much over the mechanical section right now.
Yeah.
Now here's another section I fully enjoy. The behavior section.
Oh god.
So, I'm gonna start with a disclaimer here. I am a human being, so I am not immune to doing these things, but I try my damnedest not to. And, yeah, it just happens to everybody. Some of the bad shit, the getting mad, fucking up your entire team just because you got put into a position you didn't want to, stuff like that. I don't do all those things, but like I do have some behavior issues here and there. But here's what I want to get with the behavior issue this week. It's champion select.
Oh, yes.
I love champion select. Don't you?
I hate it with a passion.
I love the people who, first of all, they don't pay any attention to what you're doing, and then they just end up picking a champion based off of whatever figment of their imagination occurred. And then it's like, oh, well, now we have 2 AD carries.
Or 2 junglers.
Or 2 junglers, like yesterday.
Yep.
And that's sad. It's a sad thing that happens. But yeah, so that's a thing. But in general, in Champion Select, the point I want to get at is how are you supposed to feel when you go into Champion Select? Lots of people go into games with a certain mindset, and it's like, I want to win this, right? Everybody wants to win League of Legends. And in order to do that, they want to play the best role possible for them. And sometimes they believe the best role possible for them is a role that's not the best role possible for them.
Yep.
However, that being said, if they have a preferred role, you should probably give it to them, but you have to state your preferred role too. And that's a whole thing about that. So, when I go into a game, at least on my main account, I go into a game and I kind of give a general idea of what role I want to play to people. Like, I prefer this or that. Basically, I say I prefer bottom lane because I'm fine with playing AD carry, I'm fine with playing support, more than anything else. I can play top lane, I can play mid lane, I can jungle, but I have these two roles that I am more inclined to play. That being said, not everybody does that. They'll just be like, I want this role or else. Like mid or feed, basically. Like, that's the basic idea.
Yeah, when it comes to, especially in Champion Select when you have your, when it comes to pick order, for example, like I understand that, pick order, it's what's there, you select whatever you select, whoever selects what, depending on whoever says what they want, they're entitled to pick whatever they want. But it's better to work towards the team because that's exactly what it is. It's a team. If you're playing Summoner's Rift, you're playing 5v5s. That's a team. You know, 5 people on one side, 5 people on the other. And if everybody is not getting along just to start with, because everybody wants mid or everybody wants jungle, and then somebody just goes, and then picks whatever the hell they wanted, then it's just like, well, it's not going to help. Especially if certain players, for example, like, this shouldn't be that much of a problem, considering, well, the higher tiers you go, the more everybody kind of knows every role almost. But you're in like the lower tiers for like bronze or silver or what have you, and then certain players like really suck at one role where they excel at another. Generally, I'd prefer not shoving them into a role that they detrimentally suck at, because that just fucks the whole thing. But for the most part, I understand if you're good at one position and you want to stick to that position, it's alright. Especially if you call it and prefer it and somebody steps down and says, yeah, okay, I'll let you have this position because it's preferred, then... Or if another person decides, yeah, okay, I don't care if it's your preferred position, I'm going to take it anyway. More or less, I'd say just give them the benefit of the doubt that they know what they're doing with that champion and that role. If they don't, then just try and work around them.
Yeah.
So many times as a support, for example, like a support Sona or support Janna or something, you kind of pick up and understand what it is and how they do for certain things. Then you start basing your decisions off of what they're doing and how to deal with that. And that's where a lot of this shit lies, is your ability to properly react to what's happening. Because if your action is very low, you're basically not going to do anything whatsoever within that lane.
In the perfect world, where you're going in with the mindset you want to win the game, wouldn't you want everyone to get the roles they want to play? But if everybody wants to play the same role, then that's why the world isn't perfect. So people gotta be able to learn multiple things and compromise, which is an unfortunate thing. But yeah, like I said, I prefer bottom lane. I'm willing to play anything else, but I do have this problem. And this is my own behavioral quirk. If I'm last pick in ranked and I end up with jungle, I basically say right off the bat, don't complain if I suck dick at this role, because I either do really well as jungle or I completely just blow up and fail, and that's just a thing for me. And it's like, the other thing I end up doing is I'll be like, oh boy, I can't wait to play jungle, like very sarcastically, and then, you know, if I'm doing bad and I end up going on tilt or something, I might be like, oh wow, I'm sure glad I got jungle this game. And that's a shitty attitude for me to have, but it's like,
A behavior thing.
I'd rather have played anything else, personally. Like, I've played the support role enough to have well, that's my main role now. Because I was forced in it so many times last season that it was unreal. And now, as of late, it's either I'm going to get support or I'm going to end up somewhere else where I haven't practiced as much. Because usually the people who take support are doing with an AD carry. So I won't get AD carry either. But if I'm first pick over them and I get this duo bottom, I usually let them. And sometimes that's not the best thing in the world because it's sometimes a really good, one of them's really good, one of them's really bad, and they're just trying to carry the other one. And it just falls apart down there anyways.
Or the Challenger Smurf.
So, there's that.
Especially within Champion Select, there's always the fun subject of counter picks. Ah, God.
Yeah, well, we're not going to talk about that this time around.
Yeah.
The point of this topic was how you feel going into Champion Select, which is like, we completely went off the tangent with the whole process of pick orders and all that. But basically, when I play the game, I keep I keep a few things in mind. It's like, I want to be calm enough to not care if I lose, but not, like, lazy calm, like, reasonably. You know, like, I don't want to be lazy about it and just, like, completely fuck up my role and be like, whatever, it was just a game. Because I'm playing ranked here, right?
Yeah.
So, there's that. Another thing is, I don't want to be mad. I don't want to go into the game mad. And sometimes I do that. It's like, oh, well, my ass got handed to me a million times, and I'm pissed, so I'm gonna keep playing ranked. Whoops. And then I just get worse and worse as time goes on. And I'm still playing, so screw me.
Yeah. A lot of the time you have to take going into ranked with a grain of salt, to be very much honest. You have to be ready. Well, this is kind of what I do in order to keep myself calm. It doesn't work for everybody else, but going into ranked, if you're like on a tilt or whatever, or not on a tilt because I still haven't properly figured out how to deal with that. But going into ranked, you almost have to be ready for anything, and that means also being ready for if you lose. Don't expect to lose, but don't think you're just gonna win all game every game.
Yeah, and I understand. Nobody likes losing. It feels bad, man. I get it, but it's going to happen once or twice. Maybe you might even go on a big losing streak, and you're probably gonna get brought down by it. You're probably gonna get mad, and that's when you just put the game down for a little while, do something else, and like, I'm sure people have heard this advice millions of times too. Just find something else to do for a little bit. Whether it's be shooting some people in the face on another game, watching some TV, jacking off, that good stuff. So, yeah, just take your mind off of it for a bit, and then go back to it, fresh-eyed, ready to do work, and then hopefully you start winning.
That's especially a good aspect of it, though, is if you're dropping low, you're starting to go on a tilt or whatever, your behavior to go into ranked is going to be very nil. You're just going to start feeling like crap the more games you try and play. So it is good to have downtime. Because nobody's superhuman. And you kind of look at the LCS players, like, they've been doing that for a long time. As far as it goes, just like playing ranked after ranked after ranked after ranked after game, and they're used to that kind of dexterity to them, where they keep playing over and over and over and over.
Yeah,
The average person isn't like that. The average person, it's just they try and play, but you can't play it for too long. You eventually come into that, but it's like,
Yeah, okay, and I'm going to say this for everyone who's listening, is that you're not an LCS player. Well, maybe one of you listening might be an LCS player. I don't know who's going to listen to this, so whatever. But the thing I was getting at is there's a fundamental difference between you and them, and they're willing to go into those gauntlets and play over and over and over, knowing full well the consequences if they go on a losing streak. And at that being said, they still, even pro players who are going on losing streaks go on tilt, but they take small breaks too, probably smaller than most people, or they'll just finish for the day on a really bad note. But they go back to it and they perform because they fundamentally good at the game, so there you go. where we can't afford that, us normal people, because we have to do our jobs, we have to do life stuff, and so we might get a bunch of ranked games, and maybe we have this free time where it's like, oh, I have this weekend, and I can just play ranked over and over and over, and then all of a sudden you're playing ranked, you start getting fucked, and it's like, shit, this is my only chance to get up in the ladder, oh no, I'm fucking it up, and then you're getting on tilt, and bad shit's happening, and the sky is falling, and ducks are crying, and like, holy hell, dude. It's madness.
Yeah. You just gotta know when to take breaks.
Yeah.
And then after a while, you start to get used to it, where you understand when you start going on tilt and you can feel it. That's what I've been noticing about myself, which is why I say with Corey often the time I know I'm going to start going on tilt, or I'm feeling kind of dumpstered, as I will put it, is I'll just say, yeah, okay, this is my last round, and just immediately think, yeah, this is my last round, I can't play for now. This may not be the last round of the entire day, but that'll be your last round for now. So you just put it down, you go and you play a different game, for example, you go outside, take a walk, whatever, calm your shit. Then once you get back to it, you might find, hey, now I'm on a winning spree. That's good.
Yeah, and I know I've given you shit for that, and I honestly apologize, because I understand the whole I need to take a break thing, but sometimes I used to do this to you a lot more, where I just feel like, oh well, you're quitting, eh?
Yeah, I know that part.
Being a dick about it. It's like, no, that's wrong of me, because what am I going to do? Keep you playing and us losing more just because you can't focus? That's screwing myself over, too.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I pretty much let you do your thing now. If it's your last game, it's your last game. I'll go play solo queue if I want to keep playing. If not, I'll take a break, too, and I'm fine with that as well. And, yeah, so, honestly, people just need to chill out, realize that it's not all about winning 24/7. It's not about the rush to Diamond or Challenge or a Master or wherever the hell you think you're going to be going. It's just, you need to keep calm, play the game, and learn. Learning is fundamentally more important than anything else in the game.
Another thing that helps with the mannerisms when it comes to actually going into the games, this is going to sound really weird, but I've talked to Corey about this before, and he agrees with me. Don't care about climbing. This sounds like counterproductive when it comes to playing ranked, but the more you flip your shit out about it, and it kind of puts you on tilt anyway. So you kind of look at it, and it's just like, oh, I'm playing ranked. Oh no, I'm losing. Oh god, and then you lose your game, then you go into the next one because you're flipping your shit about the previous one, then you're even more on tilt and even more on tilt because you're caring basically too much about climbing. And that's how Riot's system has actually have it set up, where well, I'm not going to go into like some crazy bullshit where it's like, oh, they're out to get you or whatever, some crap, but as far as it goes, they have it set up where you're against different types of people, different skill sets or what have you, and depending on how well they're doing in comparison to how well you're doing, they'll set you up based on the matching system. So not every game you're going to win, because you'll have people better than you that are going to end up going against you if you go on your winning spree. So it's like, for the most part, don't really fret so much about climbing, but at the same time, keep in mind that if you are climbing, it's good to be proud of that, and it's good to be happy about it, but the point of playing, it's going to sound really cheesy, is just to have fun. That's what a game is it's a game, regardless if it's an esport or if it's running around kicking a soccer ball around. Fundamentally, it is a game. That's what you got to understand in order to keep it going. But don't use that as an excuse to do shitty, though, because you start raging or whatever, and you decide, oh, okay, it's just a game. I'm gonna go and feed them because my team isn't listening to me. That's not gonna help. That's not gonna allow you to climb. That's not gonna do anything. That's gonna put you even further on tilt, and that's gonna make you rage, possibly get banned, all sorts of bad shit.
Yeah, no, you don't wanna put it to the point where it doesn't matter at all to you, but like, yeah, just have fun with it, because the game's existed long enough where you've had seasons, unless you're newer, seasons upon seasons to play the game and just be mad and learn all this stuff about like how not to rage and all that. Where at this point it's just like, well, maybe I want to do well, maybe I want to climb, but I'm still gonna have fun with it and I'm still gonna learn because that's also important.
It sounds really weird too to put it that way too. It's like the less you care, the better you'll do, and the more you'll not go on tilt. But to keep in mind that you don't want to care so less that you don't really care about the game at all, because then you're just pedaling backwards.
I wouldn't call it not caring. I would call it more like
not letting it get to you.
Yeah, just don't get hurt by losing. Falling off a bicycle doesn't hurt as bad as people like to think. That's basically how I equate it to my childhood. If I fell off a skateboard or a bicycle or whatever, it might hurt, but it's not going to affect me in such a way that I'm gonna just be like, fuck this forever.
Damn stupid bike!
Stupid
your dad's truck and just run over it.
Yeah, I learned how to drive my dad's truck before I learned how to bicycle. Good job.
But yeah, just don't flip your shit. Keep it cool, keep it calm. Get in the zone. Get in the vein zone.
Ah, yes, the vein zone. Yeah, so that's it. Well, that's not completely about behavior. The other thing is, you gotta keep in mind that not everybody is going to be like you behavior-wise. They might be more prone to go on tilt too. They might be the ones that are be like, oh, I don't care about this game. I'm gonna do this and that, and I don't care if I lose, even though this is ranked, blah, blah, blah. And there's gonna be people like that, and that's too bad, but it just happens. But you also gotta keep in mind, like, you gotta realize that your teammates are also human players. For the most part, I mean, there are games where people have automated bots leveling them, but that's like low. That's just way off in the distance. Different topic completely. Botters who level up accounts. Anyways, but yeah, for the most part, your teammates are human beings, so they're gonna be under the same rules of playing as you, emotionally. They're gonna probably go on tilt, they're probably gonna have a bad day where they just like, fuck this game, I'm just gonna feed forever, and it might be in a match that you're in, and that's too bad for you, but it happens to everyone. And I don't give people shit on the game itself, but usually when I'm just talking to Sven, I'll usually give people shit about how they're playing, like getting really, like, acting really dickish about it, like how, like, oh, I'm feeding, fuck you guys, and stuff like that. And I usually just say something along the lines of like, well, fuck, this guy was already feeding, what worse can he do? But, I shouldn't really think that way, and I don't say it out loud to them, because I know that they might take that to the next game, and the game after that, where they're just going to be in a bad mood. So I try not to put people in a bad mood. I try to keep people out of a bad mood when I'm in game. I try to give them some kind of, well, I pretty much won't say anything, which maybe it's better to maybe encourage people to play better, but people also take things the wrong way, which also sucks.
Yeah, don't add fuel to the fire.
Yeah, so it's just like, what's the best way to put it? Oh yeah, shut up.
Yeah.
There you go. Shut up. Play the game.
Mute.
And that goes for everyone else. Like, if you want to rage at someone in chat, if you want to tell them they're shitty, shut up. Just shut up. Because they're either going to mute you, or they're going to argue with you, and then that's going to cost the game, that's going to cost you the game even worse. Why would you spend time typing at someone? Why would you spend 15 minutes of your game typing back and forth to someone on your team, arguing with them, when you could be using that time to think about what you could do better? Like, what you could do to improve the situation.
There's a difference between somebody who's just on tilt and kind of doing shitty, in comparison to somebody who just has a legit behavioral problem. You can understand that almost right off when they have a behavioral problem. It takes a little while to actually understand who's doing what, as far as things go. And it sometimes gets kind of weird to try and differentiate between people who are on tilt and who are just complete toxic trash. I'm saying that in a bad way. My apologies, but as far as it goes, just, yeah, if somebody's toxic or what have you, mostly just you want to put them on mute. A lot of the times people just flip their shit, and it's not good to start typing to them. I'm guilty for this. I usually type at them. I try and convince them otherwise of what bad things they're doing. Not saying they're shit, but the aspect of it's just like, oh, you should be farming here or just help with the team or whatever. If they're off doing their own thing, they're going to end up being off doing their own thing regardless of what you say to them. It's kind of that human ego thing that they just keep to themselves and they don't care because everybody else is shit in their mind.
Yeah.
So for the most part, you just ignore those ones. The other ones who kind of get what you're saying, but seem kind of combative about it a little bit or just irritable. Those are the ones that are generally on tilt.
Yeah, or like the ones who are having a bad game, they might start saying something. It's like, I don't blame you for being mad, but like, I don't know why you're taking on me, man. I'm trying to do what I can here. If I'm arguing it back, then yeah, whatever. That's my problem too. But if I'm trying to do what I can, and you're getting mad at me just because like you're on tilt because something bad happened in your match, well, it sucks for us.
Yeah, that's why you need breaks, because you continuously on tilt, you'll continuously be on tilt till you rage quit off the game itself, and then you'll be off of it, then you'll end up fizzing out on your own, and then you'll come back to playing again like how you were intending to play.
Yeah.
Instead of just screwing it for the enemy, or for your own team, and for yourself, plunging yourself even further down, just take a break.
Oh, I have this weird thing myself sometimes where I'll be doing, like, okay, no, this doesn't happen to me almost ever these days, but yesterday I was playing really well, and I started playing super bad, and I realized it, and people were, like, shit-talking me on my team, as expected. And, like, I don't blame you for getting mad at me, but, like, I know, and I said this to them, I know I'm playing like shit, I don't need to be told that. Because I realize it myself, that I'm playing like shit. So, then I go into my next game, and I'm on tilt, and I do bad that game too. And I stop to think to myself, I'm like, okay, this next game, I need to just lock in a champion, and this is a normal I'm playing, mind you. I need to lock in a champion, and I need to just play as calm as possible, and do my damnedest to not get shit on during laning phase, and I won't go on tilt for the rest of the game, I know it. So, then, yesterday, and I think I told you this in Skype chat, it's like, oh, well, I locked in Yasuo and went 8-1-1. And that was just like after getting shit on for 2 games straight, where I was getting really discouraged. Mm-hmm. But for some reason I managed to counter tilt myself without actually stopping to take a break. Because I was like...
Rebound right back to it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is... Because I was like... Basically, my whole idea was like, win or lose, this is my last game on my night. It's a normal. So, I'm just gonna do what I can. I'm gonna play calmly and coolly. And, yeah, it worked out. And so I ended my night on a high note.
No, that works. A lot of the time you kind of look at it, there's also other game modes other than Summoner's Rift 2 that Riot has created.
There are other game modes?
Yeah, I know, right? But Riot has created the other game modes, which is the 3v3 Twisted Tree Line. There's Dominion, and right now there's the bonus special game that they have out, Ascension, as far as the time that we are recording this. But those other game modes, if you're going on tilt, might be a bit of a roll of the dice whether or not it'll put you even further on tilt, or to give you just the sense of, yeah, I need to be done, or it might throw you in the other direction and then kind of let you fizz it out. Because those game modes, Dominion, as well, I guess 3v3 isn't really a good example of that, but yeah, ARAM too, for example. You just kind of lock in a champion and just throw yourself at the enemy and just fuck around. And that's kind of fun as a bit of a release. Not everybody can find that entertaining, but because a lot of people still do try-hardy shit in Dominion where they start flipping their crap. Why are you people not going on your point? And all that stuff. And it's like, well, okay, that's kind of...
I don't get that one, because I cannot for the life of me take Dominion or ARAM seriously enough to get mad about it.
Yeah,
because
me neither.
I'm just playing the game. Like I just want to fuck around, and usually I'll do most of my ARAM games where I win. I do super well on, so I'm usually in a good mood coming out of them.
Hmm.
Like
Maybe just
win or lose. Like even if I lost at ARAM, I tend to do well in them.
for the most part, it's just I play those games just to mess around. I'll pick a champion that I want to play that I find entertaining, that I can just throw myself at the enemy, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna fuck around and combat people. Come at me, all angry like, and just get my rage out,
Yeah.
and that helps. Doesn't help for everybody, because, well, let's face it, not everybody is the same, but it does help depending on what you have available to you if you don't want to immediately just jump off of League.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's other things you can do too. Like I said, there's plenty of options out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, I'm playing World of Tanks with Sven, but it's not because I'm on tilt because of playing League. It's just that I don't want to play League while doing the show because it's way too much concentration lost. Because I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing right now while I'm playing World of Tanks. I'm just literally just driving forward and shooting at things, and that doesn't really matter to me. I don't think about this game too hard.
I keep being the first fucking person that's dying. Whenever...
I'll usually the second, don't worry.
God damn it.
But yeah, so, I mean, there's lots of games out there you can play to take your mind off of League. Or at least Summoner's Rift in general, and maybe for normals too, like, sometimes I get put on tilt even playing normals, but if I go from a rank game to a like, bunch of rank losses to a normal game and I do reasonably well, it's like, okay, well, I feel a bit better, or if I lose, it's like, well, whatever, it was just a normal, not that big of a deal. But, I don't know. Even when I play normal, I sometimes get annoyed. I don't know, that's about it for behavior going into the game.
As far as behavior goes, there's not a whole lot you can really get into.
Well,
Like, well, there's certain things that branch out to other stuff, but there's the general aspect of behavior that pretty well covers it.
well, the topic is how we felt going into the match itself.
Yeah.
There's lots of aspects of behavior in the game that we can discuss, but those will come in time. I just want to talk about how going into the match, because like there's a lot of times where people go into a match just with no hope in their hearts that they're going to win anyways. And it's like, dude, why are you playing ranked if you don't even remotely expect to win?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
It means you're not in a good mood. You should probably be doing something else, lest you do something and cost your team LP.
Where you end up... Usually you can tell when somebody's going, especially when somebody is on tilt or when they're just angry about something, as when they go into it and they don't get the champion they want, so they immediately say, GG, you're in champion select.
Oh yeah, I love those guys. Those are my favorite people in the world.
You can immediately tell those ones are on tilt just by that, and that's like a loop around towards the behavioral thing. It's like, you don't want to do that because that just puts your team down, and that puts you down as well.
I mean, if you're going honestly, I'll just put this out here now about the GG factor. If you're saying GG at any point in the game, then your team's going to see that, and they're going to be like, well, okay, you're thinking that, but... And some of them won't be too inclined to agree with you about it. Like, it's not GG yet. We can still win this. And some cases are right, but, like, why even say GG? Even if you know, like, if it's a sure thing you're going to lose, what's the point of just saying, oh, it's GG, guys, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, we know that. Why are you telling us that? You're just making us upset.
Just dropping down morality.
It's like, oh, we're going to lose.
Morale, rather.
We're going to lose. Oh, now we're going to lose faster because you said that. Thanks.
No, that's why you gotta try and keep your team up with, too. It's kind of hard to just put on a really goofy smiley face and say, oh, we're gonna win this one, guys. But
no, you're just being sarcastic if you do that. Like, if it's a surefire loss, you're gonna be like, oh, we're gonna win this, don't worry. You're being sarcastic. Shut the fuck up. Like, but don't say GG either. Just play the game. But okay, well, that's a later thing. That's getting out of Champion Select.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's enough of that topic. Okay, we discussed Worlds, we've discussed CSing, we've discussed Behavior going in Champion Select. How big is this file? 2 gigs. Okay. Okay. The game itself, this is the next subject, and this has to do with just things generally in the game. The topic I'm talking about right now is the lore. So, Riot wants to revamp the lore. As I understand the lore from way back in Season 1 is there's this world called Runeterra with various continents and various peoples, like nations, blah blah blah. And then there's like these people who are more adept than others, who are the champions. And these people get summoned by summoners, right? Into League of Legends for one reason or another. They got handpicked to participate in League of Legends. So that's basically the idea, and because the summoners didn't want to fight a real like magic war anymore, so they just kind of hold these contests instead. And that's how I understand things. Because I actually wrote a review on League of Legends like 2 years ago, like a game review, just for fun. And so I actually learned a bit about the lore. And for the longest time, there was this thing that they would do when they released a new champion called League Judgment. And I don't know if you remember this, Sven, but basically, whenever a champion was getting released, they'd have this little preview thing, like they have the champion preview, but then they'd also have this little thing where they would tell a bit of a story about them, and then they would have them basically going into this judgment room, where they would talk to this grand summoner guy who decided whether or not they got in, and they would have this little conversation about their intentions of joining League of Legends. So I don't know if you actually remember any of that.
I don't remember that, no.
Okay, well, that was a thing that happened. Let's see if I can find one, for example, for you before we start our next little getting wrecked on World of Tanks. Let's see. What the hell?
You don't have them on YouTube?
No, it wasn't. Wow, they just removed them, basically, like, right off their site. Oh, well, here. This is basically what I was getting at, though. Oh, okay, well, they link to the things. So click the Talon one, for example, because that's the one I was trying to find for you. See the thing that says League Judgment?
Talon. Oh, wait here. Talon. Okay.
Scroll down to League Judgment and look at it. This is what came out with every release for the longest time until sometime last season, where they just stopped doing it. But yeah, so take a look at it. It's kind of like a little fan fiction story for each champion. Well, not a fan fiction, because it's not like fan fiction, it's an actual fiction. Let's say they have this little thing where they would talk to the summoners, right?
Yeah.
And they would pretty much like try and see what makes the champions tick.
Okay. It kind of sucks that they're not around anymore. I should at least have a legacy style on YouTube.
Yeah, well, okay. That's what I was getting at with this. So they used to do that, and then they stopped. What Riot wanted to do was to just remove the existence of summoners completely.
That doesn't make sense.
Yes, exactly. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, especially considering. So they're basically wanting to rewrite the lore in such a way that summoners don't actually exist. They literally are completely separate from everything else that happens in that world. Which is, I guess, is fine in a way, but it doesn't explain why the fuck the champions are appearing out of nowhere in the League of Legends. Like, okay, why are they here then? Why aren't they just fucking around in their world, killing each other?
Well, this is why I kind of looked at it when we had a conversation about this a while back, when we were talking about, like, we were just joking about this. It's just like, oh, where do they get their death sounds from and all that stuff? It's like and I make the crack joke. It's like, oh, they probably record it by just like firing a really high-powered ball at them or something and killing them off, but reviving them afterwards. But kind of looking at that, it's just like, well, the summoners get removed, and it doesn't really make sense towards it, because how I remember reading it, a lot of the newer champions anyway, they end up approaching the League of Legends for like the summoners, and then they adopt themselves into it. Like, I think it was Gianna or Glux or what have you. Those ones that end up going, like, the League of Legends HQ or whatever, to adopt themselves into the League of Legends to fight for their side or what have you.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, okay, they get put into the Summoner Showcase itself, and what I always kind of thought is they just basically did some weird magical shit where they basically copied their existence, basically, as a Summoner icon, and then just used it for the Summoners to use as battles or what have you, then they go back to their world. But it's like, to remove that, it doesn't make sense as far as how the original lore goes. Like, they're trying to rewrite what was already there. And it's already been, like, up to Season 4. Everybody already knows what this lore is about, too. They already know the existence of the Summoners or whatever. Like, it's already a vast community that's been created around League of Legends. Now they're trying to rewrite it. I understand if they would want to adapt more onto it, considering the whole Forgotten Sands and all that crap that's been recently throwing around, as well as the Ascension stuff to do with Xerath. But if they more so tied that stuff into the current lore, to me that would be acceptable. But to take what's already there, erase it all like it never even happened, then apply something over it when it's like, what, the 4th season? Just the end of the 4th season, everybody already knows about it. They're not really thinking on that one.
Yeah, so basically, the way it feels like now is basically, oh, so these champions are just appearing on thin fucking air into the middle of Summoner's Rift. There you go. There's your explanation. Like, what? Are you kidding me? Why?
And it's like, well, I haven't really paid attention to it, but do they still have the Summoners that are, like, floating around the Nexus? I don't remember if they took that out or not.
In the map update, I don't think they do. I think they removed them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's generally the normal Nexus crystal in the center of it, right?
Yeah.
And there would be like the 5 summoners that are kind of like on the... Oh no, there's only 4, I think.
I don't...
I can't even remember. I think there's 4 or 5 summoners that are like on the outside of it. Either they're stationary or they're like slowly floating around it. But that's kind of like the point of it. Is that they're casting these people, they're bringing them into the match, and then they're fighting each other with it to demonstrate their power or what have you. And it's basically a contest of battle, it's a game. So it doesn't make sense to entirely remove the aspect of summoners from the game because you're called a summoner. And in general, it's like, what are you summoning for? I don't get it.
You're a summoner playing Summoner's Rift. Like, did we rename the map too? To, I don't know, fuck off land? The champions appeared to fuck off land, they started fighting. There you go. That's your new lore.
Like with that, one could argue it's just like, oh, it's Summoner's Rift, it's within a different land or a different dimension or some crap like that, but it's just like, the aspect of summoners and the usage of summoners has been in the game since Season 1. And recently, now that it's like Season 4, end of Season 4, going to be going on to Season 5 in maybe 3-4 months. It's like, why do it so late into it? Like, I just find it a bit of a bad move. It's kind of a disrupt to the people who actually care about the lore and all that crap.
Yeah, and there's actually been a lot of complaint about it on Reddit too. People complain about these lore changes and removing the existence of summoners entirely. It's like, what the hell are you thinking? How are you going to explain this then? And Riot has some kind of idea what they want to do with it, but at the same time, they're not entirely sure where to take this.
Yeah.
But they're they're expanding on the various nations and stuff and bringing their stories more to light. But it's like, okay, so that's cool and all, but why are they going into this battle arena now when they could just be fighting in their own lands?
Yeah, like, it doesn't make sense. Like, for example, the Rengar versus Kha'Zix kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, those two are fighting each other, and the reason they... No, wait. No, I'm thinking of a different champion, I think. I don't think the two joined League of Legends to fight each other. I think it was, crap. I can't remember what champion, but there is one of them that specifically joined it to find some other person. Another champion, I believe.
Well,
to fight them or to be with them or some crap like that, but...
Graves joined to basically deal with Twisted Fate. There's an example of one. And I think Rengar just joined it because he wanted to hunt, like, strong opponents, basically, and...
Yeah.
It did say in his, like, personal lore that he met a certain strong champion that he's really kind of like looking forward to meeting again, who's referencing Kha'Zix, right?
Yeah.
So there's that.
As he says, wretched creature whenever he ults.
Yeah.
If a Kha'Zix is in the enemy team.
So, I mean, they have that stuff about the lore, and they're expanding their own little things, like how they add the whole Jinx, Caitlyn, Vi trio story. And
like, that kind of stuff made sense, though.
Yeah, and the Shurima Desert thing, like, it's cool and all, but where's Summoner's Rift coming?
Yeah, like I like the Shurima Desert idea. If they were to expand Sivir's kind of, well, they actually did expand onto Sivir's kind of story, because when they basically rewrote her story, which is kind of weird, they turned her from I think it was like some kind of princess or whatever. I can't remember. Some kind of ruler of a lost kingdom or some crap like that. I can't remember. But it turns her into like a bounty hunter or what have you that'll do whatever for money, and her band of fellow bounty hunters. It kind of makes sense on that aspect, because they push into it with the current lore that's going on. But instead of like adapting to that's already there and expanding on what's going on within the storylines, they're trying to remove what the old story is. So it's like, you're gonna start it right from Shurima, or what do you like? What are your intentions? Like, I don't really understand. Maybe over dramatizing it a little too, because I just hate things being fucked around with when it's already well established. But it's
I know you do. No,
it's just annoying.
I think what they're doing now is because they want to kind of remove the existence of summoners or something along those lines. Is like these events, like the Shurima event, where they have this Ascension game mode and stuff. I think they want to live parts of the lore through that, rather than just Summoner's Rift itself. Like, Summoner's Rift is basically a separate entity now, whereas all these lore events basically take place having to do with the lore itself. Like how they did the Howling Abyss map for the Freyord event.
Yeah.
And how they're doing the Ascension mode for the Shurima event.
Yeah.
So, if they do it that way, in such a way that you can live it through the other maps, that's kind of good. But at the same time, okay, Summoner Rift is just a completely different entity altogether. And the other thing is, in the extra game modes like Shurima and blah blah blah, is you're still summoners in there, so I don't know.
Yeah, that aspect too kind of doesn't make sense, because you're still considered a summoner. You're summoning what champion you have selected within your champion pool, and you're throwing that summoner or that summoned champion out there. So you're still on the aspect of being a summoner.
Yeah, because a lot of the champions that you can pretty much select almost any champion for those maps types too. It's like, what do they have to do with the Shurima event? Because you're picking like fucking Kassadin for it, like.
Yeah.
What does he have to do with Shurima? He's a void. He has to do with the void stuff.
Or you end up going with like Akali or Kennen or Shen or something. They have something entirely different where they're going for balance, but I guess it kind of makes sense to throw them in there because, well, Ascension is out of balance.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. But
it's still kind of for a lot of these different champion sets, like specifically for their lores. So if they're gonna play it that way, it's like, if basically what they're doing for their lores is to throw stuff out the window, and they all have like nothing to do with it. Every champion pretty much has nothing to do with it at the moment.
Yeah.
Really anything until they rewrite their lores. Like I don't really understand where they're going with this.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like either you're gonna rewrite the lore for the game in such a way where, well, don't rewrite the lore for a game. Just have the whole summoners thing, because at least that makes some amount of sense. Instead, it's like, oh, well, we're completely throw out the window. Then we have to rewrite the lore of everything ever to explain why. And if there's any conflicting nations or game modes, like, what do these champions have to do with any of this?
Yeah.
So they're not going to add to lore for, like, they're not going to add a stream apart for every single champion, right? Only the champions who belong on the stream. So then, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, so it doesn't make a total amount of sense as far as how they're enacting it, because if they're going to do that, they're going to end up throwing all the lores out the window, and it's like, well, what are you intending for? And I can see why some people are pissed about it, is because they're wanting the consistency of the lore. Especially when people are creating fan fictions and all that stuff about it, then somebody ends up reading that fiction that they made, or watching the material that they made, what have you. Then they look at it, it's just like, well, what the hell is this? It doesn't make sense to me, because this is not part of the lore, and this is all the people that come like after like Season 5 and Season 4, what have you, depending on how long that League of Legends is around, or if it continues to be around for a long, long time, then sure, but it's like, up until this point, you get rid of all the lores, then you look at all the fan fictions, they become basically null and void because they don't fit towards anything. They're just made up on the spot, seeming.
Yeah, not just the fan fiction, like the fan-made content in general, like pictures, like, art, anything. It's like, okay, we have it depicted a certain way, and now this way has changed, so what am I depicting here? It doesn't make sense anymore. Like, they've basically this getting a little overboard saying this, like, it's not as crazy or off the handle as anything else, but it's like basically throwing away 4 years of culture from a nation.
Yeah.
But, it's not that heavy of a thing. It'd be like if you started a country and you had a certain way of doing things, and it was depicted in history through art and just music and culture in general, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, we're changing what we're all about. And then it's like, well, did any of this stuff make any sense? I guess history-wise it could, because it's still there. But, like, if you tried to connect it to what's going on now, it's like, how did this happen?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. You'd have to end up looking at, like, the Wikipedia articles based on the old lores in order to understand what those things are depicting.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Riot's going all friggin' One Piece on us here.
Yeah, I don't know. It's quite the thing going on, and there's been a lot of stuff on Reddit about people wanting the lore to not be changed and screwed with, and maybe Riot has some kind of solution to the lore in general, like how they're going to go about changing it in such a way that's not going to fuck everything up.
Yeah.
But it's going to be really hard to implement that without, like, they'll have to change everything. But to do it in such a way where they won't fuck up old stuff is damn near impossible, in my opinion.
I honestly hope they have some sort of plan to it.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, after this match is over, I want to look at these PBE updates with you, because I want your opinion on them.
PBE?
Yeah, just some PBE updates.
Okay.
It's kind of interesting. So, I'm going to give context to you before I send this. The first thing. Okay, Fnatic won the first World Championships, right?
Okay.
And every team since Season 2 has gotten a World Championship skin for their team, and Fnatic did not. So, they're finally adding them.
Oh boy.
So yeah, Fnatic skins. That's kind of a nice nod at them. It's about damn time, too.
So it's just 2 champions?
No, if you click the thing that says Fnatic theme skins...
Upcoming okay.
Then it shows you more of them. Let's see. Yeah, it shows all of them. There's Gragas, Janna, Corki, Jarvan, and Karthus.
Okay. Okay, Fnatic Gragas, Fnatic Janna. You know what I find funny? Is all of their team-based skins all end up having some kind of... what the hell's the word for it? It's like the sunglasses, the Scout, or Team Fortress 2 Scout-style hat kind of thing to it, the friggin' the microphone coming off the side, the clothing for it, but it's kind of like baggy, like hip-hop-ish kind of shit. It's like, what the hell? They're all like that.
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean there. Yeah, and That's because they're trying to pick the team themselves. And,
It's like, yeah, he's so badass, he's gonna start breakdancing.
well, I wouldn't go
But,
that far. But like, I understand the whole headset things because
yeah,
that's the team.
headset makes
They were
sense.
wearing that. That's the jersey we're wearing. I don't know about the hats. People can't wear hats when they're playing the game.
Yeah,
But whatever. They
it's
look
kind
pretty.
of fun. Yeah,
They look
kind of
pretty
just a little
neat.
funny how it's kind of just funky. Not funky because it's not really funky. It's just I can't even think of the right word for that. I guess it's pop culture-esque, I guess I would say.
Okay. But yeah, okay. Let's look at the rest of them. So there's texture rebalancing too, eh? You see that?
Texture.
Yeah.
Um,
They show a collie first, and
okay, yeah.
how they wanna make the textures more in line.
Okay, so they're trying to make it more correct.
Yeah, they want to make them fit the new map better because some people with their textures look way too cartoonish considering the map
Yeah,
change, and they're showing them on the new map too, right? So you can see how they fare there.
yeah. The
So
new map, actually, aesthetically, it looks really nice. It's
yeah.
one thing I am proud of.
Oh, well, we'll talk about new map another
Yeah.
time because that's going to be a pretty big one. I'm really interested in talking about that.
As far as these skins, though, yeah, the retextures are looking nice.
Yeah, those are pretty neat. And then after that, they have some more. Oh, they have the team icons for worlds. They have this shiny galactic-looking background to all of them.
I'm
Gonna
definitely buying that TSM one
more
and Cloud9.
more RP to spend. Good God. Uh, so there's that. Oh, take a look at the Soraka update. This is something I was talking to you about a while back.
Soraka update. Oh, that was on the other page. Balance changes. There it is. Let's see here. I'll give you that. If you don't have it already. Soraka gameplay update. What the hell? Her passive.
I know it's
70% bonus movement speed when running towards allies who are below 47, or 47, really? 40% health.
yeah.
Allies must be within 2,500 range of Soraka. Holy crap.
And they have a little directional pad over them, if you notice.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me. It looks like a directional pad. I don't know if they changed it or not, but that's what it looks like to me right now.
You know, I find that kind of funny because it's... this is probably not the case, but I almost find this like a bit of a tip of the hat to jungle ambulance Soraka. It's like you're running into lane. Oh, if somebody's low health, you start sprinting into lane, heal them, Q a couple times, and run back out, back to the jungle.
Huh.
It's like, shit.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, so there's that. And then look at Star Call. Look what they did to it. It's so different. It reminds me of Vaeger's Dark Matter.
Yeah. Except this time it's at an angle and less fast.
Instead of being dark matter, it's light matter. And
God.
then,
Canon confirms Soraka opposite of Vaeger.
yeah. And then her heal.
Astral infusion. Holy shit, that looks interesting. Let's see, what is this?
I like the passive. It kind of helps her.
What the hell?
But
Cost 10% max health and a certain amount of mana.
yeah, basically you're sacrificing your health now to heal. And let me put this in context for you. You're storing a base amount of health for a percent of your health. So if you have if you have a certain amount of health, you're gonna be losing more health giving it away than it's worth.
Yeah.
But I guess that's where the passive comes in to kind of displace it a bit.
Okay. Yeah. It would be more interesting if they were to actually... This might actually sound a bit OP, is if they were to scale it towards... Like, it takes 10% max health
Yeah.
and a certain amount of mana. If they were able to take that 10% off and, like, say, apply 2% to it, on top of that plus 0.6 AP, but instead of having, like, the base amounts, like 120, 115, or what have you, it just switches to, like, something else to compensate, just so it doesn't seem like your health is just being leached away, but not really being used towards anything.
Or, something I just came up with when I was looking at this, why not make the active scale with a small amount of AP or a percent of your max health?
Oh yeah, because it costs a percent of your max health. Why not apply, a percent of your max health as...
It doesn't have to
the
be
active?
10%, because that might be, like,
Oh
stupidly
yeah,
busted, but, like,
retarded.
I don't know, 2%? Something like that? Because
Yeah.
what's 2% of 100 is 2. There you go. Not that big of a deal, right?
Yeah.
So that's just a little bit more, along with some AP, so that's not so bad. But like, okay, 10% of 100 is 10. So, okay, you're giving up 10 health to a store 120. That's not so bad. But you don't start with 100 base health anyways, so that's just a really oddball example.
Yeah, but it makes it interesting for that. Like, say if they were to remove the AP aspect to it, for example, and then they throw in like the 2% health based on it for max health, should seem like more of a mid to late game healer support then if you were to do it that way.
Here's what hurts me about the heal change also. They don't apply armor anymore.
Yeah, that's gonna be a bit of a pain in the ass.
Okay, now I'll go to E. This is like completely and utterly changed too.
What the hell is this?
This is like a whole new world.
Creates a zone in the target location for 1.5 seconds, dealing AP measures damage to enemy champions cast Revius. Enemy standing in the zone are silenced until they leave.
Okay.
Think about this Malzahar.
Yeah, so they've been working on removing silences from a bunch of champions like LeBlanc and Kassadin and whatnot. And then they add this AoE silence zone to Soraka. What?
That's so freaking weird. That's like...
But it is only 1.5 seconds, but it is an AoE too, so that's a long silence if you're stuck in that the whole time. Especially if someone buys Ryleys, which I will do if I'm playing Soraka at that point. I'm gonna buy Ryleys, and they're gonna be stuck in that silent zone.
Yeah.
Oh, and when this...
that, it's just... There's silence too. That's like a mixture of Malzahar's AoE and his Q. Like, that's weird.
But not only that, now when the zone disappears, the enemy champions standing in there are rooted and are dealt more magic damage.
Bloody hell.
That's a 2.5 second CC, and they're guaranteed to be stuck in there if you have a Ryleys, basically, unless they like flash out or you hit them with the end of it or something. If they're in the very middle of it, there's no way they're going to get out of that in time.
I don't even think they can flash out, because doesn't silence prevent you from casting?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. So it'd be inherently fucked if you had a Ryleys.
Yeah, they pretty much don't stand a chance of game unless it's at the very edge and you fucked up with it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty crazy, that change. Whatever, that's their call to do that. Okay, and then there's her alt, which is basically...
Okay, let's see.
I like it. They made it better, because it removes grievous wounds, which completely nullifies the entire point of having that
Executioner's Calling?
Executioner Calling, yeah, useless item. Well, it's going to be useless after this wish change.
Yeah.
So, you have a Soraka in your team, there's no point in buying Executioner's Calling anymore to counteract her.
I don't know, because on every auto attack for Executioner's Calling, it's applied, right? But it says here, health to all allied champions, removing all instances of grievous wounds beforehand. So if you have like a stack of grievous wounds on somebody, like for example, Tristana's W. Okay. Grievous wound is applied, you fire off her alt, and it'll remove grievous wounds, and then heal them. Well, you have an item that's auto attacks, that procs on auto attacks, that is applying grievous wounds consistently. It'll remove grievous wounds beforehand, heal them, but then grievous wounds will be reapplied. Yeah, but the heal's already done. And if you're fast enough, you can basically get off your wish and your astral infusion before they get grievous wounds again. Yeah, probably. So they're gonna... It's not, like, I don't know. It's not entirely breaking of Executioner's Calling, but it will hurt it. At least it'll hurt Tristana, for example. That's true. But she needs to be hurt. That's quite nice. I hate her kit. Tristana needs to be hurt. Fuck that champion. Oh, Divine Soraka. Okay.
Yeah, so they changed the picture.
I like that. It looks nice, because I have Divine Soraka.
Oh, hey, they're adding a World Championship in Fantasy LCS Summoner Icon. Cool, I actually participated in Fantasy LCS, so I'm sure I'll be getting that.
Huh. I didn't.
Yeah, well, that's what you get for hating esports. Oh, the more texture rebalancing on this one, too.
Dynasty Ari. Midnight Ari. What, no Foxfire?
It's not important.
Nothing for Popstar or Foxfire. Oh, fuck you guys.
I think
Shit.
Popstar's pretty new, though. Maybe their textures are better for it.
Probably. Foxfire is pretty... It's pretty old, though.
Okay. Yeah, I guess.
You know what I find kind of interesting about the retexture?
What?
As you look at the Akali one below the Ari stuff, you kind of look at her and you look at the textures, it seems... When you look at the before and the after, it seems like when you look at the before, there seems to be more detail on that. When you look at the after, everything kind of seems just more smooth, but less detail. I think that's just my eyes playing tricks on me, but yeah, it seems like they sacrificed a little bit of detail on the textures to add smoothness, just so it'll blend in with the
I don't know. You're more an expert on this visual stuff than me. I understand what you mean. It looks like it does look kind of less detailed. Well, okay. Look at Nerves, for example. Those pictures where compares just the two, like the first one and the second one.
Yeah.
I feel like she went from being a plastic toy in the first one to being a anime character in the second one. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, pretty much. They changed the coloring of it. It went from like a solid, more so a white to a cream.
Yeah, so there's that. That's how I see these. It's like they're either going from being a plastic toy into an anime character. So what the hell? I have Blood Moon and Kali skin. What is that gonna look like? Change. What the hell?
What? I have the... Where is it? Oh, it's not here. I have the one with the mask. I can't remember what the hell it's called.
The Blood Moon and Kali one is actually more detailed on the bottom of the little thing covering her crotchal area.
Oh yeah, it's what the hell is it? Some kind of flap.
Yeah, her flap flap.
Yeah, in certain spots, yes and no.
Yeah, it's like they move some of the detail elsewhere in some of them.
Yeah, because you look on the left picture for it, all the detail on the blades, like the graining and all that shit to add for metallic effect, it kind of gets blotted out for, it seems to be like some kind of bronze material. Then on her flap on the left side, in comparison to the right, they add some designing to it. They changed like the coloring, they made it, like on her shoes, for example, they made it all one solid color. So it's like, they kind of reduced some of the fine detail of it, just to give it a more smooth look, which is alright. But it kind of looks like she's wearing socks.
I have been recording this for almost 3 hours now, and we're still on the last subject yet.
God.
So, okay, let's move on and get this over with. Okay, so anyways, our last subject is the meta.
Ah, yes, the meta.
So, the first, meta in general, but the first topic regarding meta is, what is a meta? Now, there's a definition of a meta. What's the definition of a meta game, Sven?
I don't remember the actual definition of it. I know I can explain it as per meaning, but as far as like a legitimate definition, like a dictionary, I don't know.
Okay. First, give me your definition of a meta, then.
Consensus between the community as far as how something should be played out, like a consistency. So meta being like bot lane with an AD carry and a support. That seems to be the consensus between all the players to say, AD carry and support are bot lane. It's just a general understanding towards each other, towards a certain point. I can't quite
So basically, it's like there's a certain way the game has to be played. That's how you see it, right?
A certain way the game is viewed to be played, I'll put it like that.
Okay, so that's generally the accepted idea of it. And so you're not off the mark. However, definition-wise, everybody who believes that is completely and utterly off the mark. The literal definition, as per Wikipedia, is metagaming is any strategy, action, or method used in a game which transcends a prescribed rule set, uses external factors to affect the game, or goes beyond the supposed limits or environment set by the game. Everybody has a certain, there's a certain way the game's accepted to be played. The definition of metagaming is to go beyond that and change it.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So, where did this definition come up that you have to play the game a certain way?
I don't know.
Nobody, I don't know, I don't think anybody can actually answer that. Who actually came up with the idea that that was what metagaming meant. Because the definition is right in front of my face right this second on Wikipedia.
Yeah. Which kind of makes me wonder, because we heard about meta and all that crap from Bell, too. So it's like, what the hell?
Yeah, so here's what metagaming is to me. Metagaming is a way the game is played optimally. The most optimal way of playing, which is basically decided by the people who are playing these champions and figuring out that they're the cream of the crop, top tier, best things to be picking all the time and have a consistent win ratio. And mathematically the strongest. That is what metagaming is, in my opinion. So, that being said, I am not against people trying out different things, but at the same time, I don't want to see completely and utterly stupid shit in my games. I don't want to see a jungle Teemo.
Yep.
That makes no physical sense whatsoever. Okay, lore-wise it would make sense because he's a scout. He's gonna be scouting through the jungle, shitting his little mushrooms out everywhere, being an asshole. He doesn't actually fit the jungle role well enough for it to be relevant to the way the game is prescribed to be played, mathematically speaking. So, that being said, there's a lot of people who will be picking champions that don't make any sense whatsoever where they're going. Whatever, they can do that all they want, of course. But I have this rule for that, too. If it works, then I don't give a shit. If it doesn't work, then I'm gonna let you know every time without fail that you fucked up with the decision you made picking that into the wrong role. And that's just me. I know it's probably kind of a dickish thing, but it's just the way I see it. Because if I see someone pick jungle Teemo, okay, that's fine to a point. If they're doing well, then I'm not even going to think twice about it. Good job. But if you're just handing out double buffs and getting wrecked all over the place and not getting any ganks out and not contributing anything to the game, then I'm going to tell you that jungle Teemo was a shitty choice and that you should probably rethink your champion pool.
Yeah.
Sometimes I play champions that don't fit where they're supposed to be, but I also do it playing normals. I also try and figure out the champions that are currently meta picks and play those, but sometimes they'll steer off a little bit, even in ranked. Like right now, meta gaming wise, for example, Jinx isn't the best AD carry to be picking.
Yeah,
but I still pick her because I have a way of playing her that is pretty damn effective for me. So there's that. So yeah, that's how I define metagaming. So, what do you think the fundamental problem with this whole metagaming aspect is, though?
Well, as far as it goes, what I think a big aspect of it that gets screwed over is the fact that seeing as certain champions are buffed and nerfed a certain way that kind of accents towards these metas or different playstyles or what have you, then certain champions be entirely obsolete. There's no point in even playing them. And a lot of the times it's just like, one person, for example, Urgot ADC is still a thing. No, you'll be outclassed entirely. Certain people can do it. Don't get me wrong, certain people are able to pull it off. I've seen some crazy shit in like low level silver or some crap like that, or maybe some high level gold, just something way out in left field, but there's a reason why there's certain champions that are really, really effective at damage output at certain levels, or not certain levels, just certain seasons and within certain systems that they can actually do well. So far it seems like what you linked me before, that crunching of the data to see how much damage is outputted out of like bronze straight through till I think it was diamond, and then the challenger was like the really off to left field one. But like the most damaging one that they showed for damage output was Kog'Maw. So it's like, okay, so Kog'Maw is up there. Right after that, it's Twitch, and around there it's also, I think it was Vayne. I don't remember. But yeah, like the 3 champions, for example, like that, those are the highest damage outputs and the highest ones that are actually able to do real well. So you kind of look at that and it's just like, well, those are the 3 optimal ones you can play if you're really worried about number crunching and wanting to win, playing towards that. Well, it's like, okay, so suddenly Graves is like thrown under the truck. So is Urgot, but he kind of transferred top, but that's meta, so he went top.
Yeah.
It's like some weird crap, and it's strange to see some of this stuff, because it's like, well, you can't really play those champions, so it's like, what's the point of having them? And you kind of look at Quinn, for example. At first she was an ADC, like I can admit she's not an ADC now, but at first she was, so you'd play her bot lane, whatever, but now she's just kind of fizzled off, and now it's the standard to understand that, oh, okay, she's top lane now, kind of.
Yeah.
And it's like some of these champions just have no real placement. So what the hell do you do with this if there's kind of little tweaking to everything?
As far as I'm concerned, only 24 champions actually exist in this game at any given time. Yeah. Everything else is just like niche, unknown factors, or outright garbage. But there are like at least a couple dozen champions that can fit almost any time.
Oh wait, no. What I was thinking, not Vayne. It was, I remember how it went. It was Kog'Maw, then it went Tristana, then it went Twitch. Three highest damage outputs in the game at the moment, as far as ranked goes, and towards the meta, because health seems to be the building, so those ones seem to do the best against health.
The fundamental flaw with meta is it kind of forces a certain small amount of champions that will always be effective versus a whole shit ton of champions that won't be effective. Yeah. Unless for some reason you've had like millions of games on ADC Urgot where all of a sudden you can like stomp everyone on the way up because people don't know what the hell ADC Urgot even is, because in their world they don't exist. But you're still winning with it, so whatever, good for you. You managed to break the game slightly, but it's not going to change the meta. Because there are always those people who will trickle through with their weird picks and still make it, whereas it won't have any effect on the game itself.
And you kind of got to look at that in comparison to solo queue and when people look at LCS. I don't care what anybody says. Running freaking horse mid. Yeah, one LCS champion did that, but they set that up
Academy. Curse Academy's Kane. Yes. He ran Hecarim mid.
Yeah, they run Hecarim mid, but that was based towards a team choice. So that's definitely got to keep in mind to differentiate meta towards LCS plays, because what they're playing in LCS, certain positions will be optimal, that's why they choose them, but at the same time they also think about what they're picking based on the team. So it's not like, oh, I'm playing Hecarim mid because, oh, he's so powerful, he kicks ass, and he does the thing, he's the highest damage output right now. No, he picked him mid because he picked it based on what they were doing with the team. That's definitely a big differentiation that people really need to get over, that I find in ranked when it comes to that, is because that's not part of the meta. That was just a tweak that they tried to do, so that doesn't apply. So if you're playing Hecarim mid because you saw some pro player do it, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, pretty much. It was an anomaly, and it's not something you can just easily emulate just because you saw it. It's like, oh, this looks effective, so I'll do it. And then just completely and outright screw it over, mess up your team, whatever. if you're gonna try stuff like that, at least give it some practice in normals first before you bring it anywhere else. And if you, for some reason, you do get really good at doing that, then go ahead.
My aspect is if you're real confident in the champion that you pick to bring into that lane, then sure, that's all right. If you pick the champion you're confident with, that's good. But that's going into like counter picking and skill wise. But that's some other time that we're going to go over that. Yeah. But if you're not confident with that champion, you're not confident with Hakrim going into mid lane, and you're not confident in playing him, you're going to get smashed by the enemy Lux, or the enemy Katarina, or the enemy Akali, or Kassadin, or whoever the hell else that was put against you that are playing towards the meta. You'll get outright destroyed.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you'll really be able to do about it other than just hoping you make it to late game, then using your late game as an advantage. But that's playing towards strats and all this other crap that you have to keep in mind. That's a bit higher level on that shit. Something I also won't jump into this episode, but as far as it goes, yeah, just stick towards what you know and stick towards, I guess, the meta. It sucks, I know, but it is what it is, and it's what the game is balanced for towards number generating, because it is a bunch of numbers. So far, League of Legends, as far as I've seen out of the other MOBAs, it seems to be like the most complex MOBA there is, because you get items that you build your champion with, then you get runes that you set up on your champion to augment the damage, then you have masteries to set up on your champion to augment the damage even more, or the survivability or what have you. It just, you'll get wrecked if you dinker around with it without knowing what you're doing, and especially if you take it into ranked. And that will actually piss a lot of people off.
Man, you're gonna get a lot of people pissed off at you for saying League is the most complex MOBA. You're getting all these Dota fans, and you're like, oh no, Dota guys.
Well, I kind of look at Dota. I played a little bit of it myself. I couldn't get into it, but it's like, yeah, okay, Dota has some aspects to it that's complex, but of course it's based around team play. But that's just jumping into comparisons and other crap. I won't go there neither.
I think I don't want to talk about Dota too much, but in my opinion, Dota is more mechanically complex because they have like creep denial and stuff like that.
Strategy and such, more over than its numbers.
But League has more theory crafting, in my opinion. I think Dota players have kind of a set way they need to build their champion every time in order to be effective, whereas League you can kind of tweak it here and there. And maybe there's more stuff you can change in Dota for item wise. But I haven't played enough Dota to really get into it, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Yeah, so
as far as it goes though, when it comes to League, item builds and item changes are all towards the meta, and then meta, as far as builds you go on champions, those are the ones that are most effective. And well, it's like you said before, you kind of look at the Korean teams and they have them based, or they have the meta they've set when it comes to damage output and survivability and all that stuff, like the optimal setups. So you kind of look at it that way, the items, the runes, the masteries, all such, just all tweaked specifically, crunching numbers in order to achieve what they're needing.
So anyways, that's pretty much covering the metagame in general. There's lots of topics surrounding metagame, like what's good where, but we'll get into that over time, because there's lots of things to talk about regarding it. I just want people to have a general idea of what metagaming entails for the game, and how it's not quite what everyone believes it to be.
Yeah, fair assessment.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's about it for this week regarding that. But, now we have to do the introduction, because we kind of skipped over that.
Oh, yeah.
So...
better late than never.
Well, I want to do it last because I kind of needed to think of how I was going to go about it, and I still haven't figured out how I was going to go about the intro. But anyways, welcome to the first episode of the Armchair League. I am the host, Novasight, also known as Corey, and my co-host here.
What up?
Well, at least introduce yourself, man.
I'm AspariOne. Recently changed my name to that, actually, on League. Yeah.
And he doesn't have a real name.
Oh yeah. You'll notice you'll call me Sven throughout the chat that we're having here, but my real name is Steven. Don't mind Sven. It's a nickname I got a long time ago. But yeah, that's just in reference so you understand who he's referring to and what's going on.
Yeah, and the entire point of the Armchair League is to explain 5 different important topics regarding the game. Some may be more important than others to you, the listener, which is mechanics, which can be anything we're doing with mechanical gameplay, behavior, the thoughts and feelings of everyone else, the community itself, basically the players that surround us, the game, just like stuff they've been changing, patches, etc., and meta gaming, because apparently the meta is super important. So there's that. And yeah, I just want to kind of teach people a little bit.
At any point, we're going to be adding timestamps towards the videos for YouTube specifically, just so in case you want to come back to it or what have you, you'll have a spot to click on within the About section that'll take you right to that portion of the video.
Yeah, I was thinking about timestamps. Like, once I edit this all out and iron out the kinks, it will be shorter than what it shows right now.
Yeah.
But it will have all that stuff cut out there. And oh, okay. So another thing about our introduction is I myself, Novasight, am a Season 3 Platinum player, and so I'm only gold this season. So take my words with a grain of salt. I'm not as good as I could be.
And I'm an I used to be an off and on League of Legends player. I was back from Season 2 playing just normals. We got into Season 3, then I ranked into Bronze 1 I managed to get into before the season. No. I don't know. I popped out of Bronze and actually went into Silver 5. Now I'm currently ranked into Silver 5 as Silver 3 and slowly making the climb up to Gold.
Yeah, at the preliminary rounds of this season, you started in Bronze 3.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I punched right through that.
Then you got to Silver 3. You've been improving. You've been doing really well, and that's good.
Interestingly enough, I was always frustrated with Bronze 1 because it was rather difficult to get out of. This season I just punched right through it without caring.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting.
You can only get better at the game, in my opinion.
True that.
So, yeah, that's about all I have for the introduction right now. And yeah, timestamps are a good idea. I like that. I was actually thinking about it, so there's that.
A little bit of professionalism in there for some of the stuff like that.
Oh.
I got to see a lot of videos and other stuff doing stuff like that, so it's like,
yeah. Also, the direction I want to take the show is I want to be able to do this weekly. Maybe I'll start bi-weekly, because this is going to be really hard to edit at first, because I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see how fast I get it done, and then we'll go from there. So whether or not this gets popular, I want to do it regularly, and hopefully people take something out of it, because I wouldn't mind the community being able to learn more, whether or not they like to. And eventually I want to get people coming in on with us, giving their opinions on things, and
yeah, like special guests.
Yeah, because it's good to have other perspectives too, right? Everyone has different ways of thinking about the game besides us.
Yeah, so if the show gets popular enough, we might be able to bring in some special guests. Maybe even some LCS players, maybe, crossing fingers.
Yeah, that'd be good. So,
it'd be good to get their perspective.
The raw recording of this show has run, let's see, 3 hours and 16 minutes.
Holy shit.
But I honestly don't think that's...
It's probably going to be snipped down to like 10 or 15 minutes.
No, it's going to be at least 2 hours, in my opinion. To anyone that's listening, thank you for listening for however long you decided to. You might have just tuned out instantly because my voice is super annoying.
With that monotone going on there.
Yep. Alright. Any last words?
Well, stay alive, don't die, and have fun. Don't let things get to you. Keep your head up and keep going.
Thank you for listening.